Hello friends, very good evening. Friends, I strongly believe you all are fine and doing good at your respective places. Friends, we are learning about performance, measurement and evaluation in the chapter number 8 of paper 5. Friend, this is the last class of the 6 class series on the chapter number 8. So firstly, prior to moving into the today's agenda, let me discuss what are the things in the chapter number 8 and what are the concepts which we already covered. And it will help us in a form of a recap to capture the thing which we learned. Okay. So we start the chapter number 8 with this concept that every company need to manage its performance in order to attain the corporate objective. But obviously, if you wish to manage your performance, you need to first measure your current performance and then evaluate the same so that you can apply the improvement in that, or you can do or take the measure so that you can improve your performance. Very good evening to all of you. Good evening, Muthulakshmi. So then thereafter, what we did, we studied the organization structure where we learned the 4 categories of the structure which organization can opt in order to fix the role and responsibility of different person. Then thereafter, we study about the responsibility accounting, which is basically on the premise that a person must be held responsible only for the act performed by that particular person. Thereafter, we discuss the different 4 forms of responsibility centers, and then thereafter divisional performance measure which we will apply on which we will include in our performance metrics in order to measure the performance of the division if our organization structure is divisional in the nature. Then thereafter we study the feature of the good performance measure and pros and cons of using the performance measure. Then we realize that in order to measure the performance, we need to establish some indicator against which we measure the performance. Those indicator can be financial performance indicator. Those indicator can be non-financial performance indicator. There are 3 tools which are relying upon only financial performance indicator. What are those? ROI, RI, EVA. Return on investment, residual income, then economic value added. But we at the same time feel that organization is not working to be profitable. They also need to be sustainable so that they can earn the same amount of profit or increased amount of the profit for a longer period to come. Hence, in order to be sustainable rather than just profitable, we need to consider non-financial performance indicator apart from financial performance indicator. So the tool which can be applied are balance scorecard, performance pyramid, building block, performance prism, and triple bottom line. And then thereafter, we understood this thing, what organization need to do, cut down its strategy into the objective. Then against each objective, identify the critical success factor, those activities which will help you to achieve this objective. And against each objective, you need to do what? You need to identify the measure or key performance indicator. For example, your objective is to be profitable. So you identify what are the critical success factor to be the profitable. Revenue growth is one of the way to improve your profit, because if you are selling more but your fixed overhead remains same, you will be more profitable. So profitability you identify can be achieved with the revenue growth. Then market share you identify as your indicator. It means those indicators which can help you to attain the critical success factor or achieve the critical success factor, and those factors which can help you to attain the objective. So these are interlinked. Then we move to the benchmarking. So now in today's class, what is our agenda? We need to complete the benchmarking. We understood the concept and then solving the question of the PHL, which will continue in this class. And then we need to study the performance measurement and evaluation in case of not for profit sector. On this, the question asked in this examination, November 2020. But still, all the concept not tested. Still, there are many things which can be tested based upon this. And last, a small concept, what is the performance report that we need to study? Friends, I wrote the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8.1, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on, according to the class notes which we discussed. And these concepts are written in a serial order in which it is mentioned in your study material. So this is going to help you in order to revise entire chapter 8. Okay. Now let me take you to the notes. So friend, we were solving the question of the PHL Limited. What we did up till now, we prepared this particular chart after reading the question. But I strongly believe that many of my friends may even forget the sum of the provision or the data written in a question. And some of my friends are those which didn't attend the previous lecture of the Monday. So in order to help you, we'll quickly read the question, but we will not spend time to discuss the element. We'll quickly get through the question so that we can solve the question in a sensible manner. Although we already solved the part 1, we need to answer the part 2 and a 3. But in order to help all my friends and in order to build the connect, we are just reading the important elements from the question. Read the question quickly along with me. PHL, South Asia Premier Express Air and Integrated Transport and Distribution Firm, offers a wide range of innovative supply chain services, including express distribution, third-party logistic, and consulting. It means this is a company which offers the transportation and logistic services to another companies. Further, the PHL offers innovative logistic solution to its customer, enabling them to focus on their core competencies. It means they took the burden of logistics from their clients so that client can work on their primary activities, on their product, on their customer relation. Further, the firm adds maximum value to the business at every level. The right from providing the world-class warehouse support to ensuring the time definitive delivery of the goods anywhere in the country X. It means they are renowned for two things. They are doing the storage for their clients, and not only the storage for their client, they are also ensuring the timely delivery. So their feature is what? Their feature is that you need not to have your own store. You can rely upon the PHL Limited. The PHL will use its store to warehouse your goods. It means you can use less amount of capital and outsource the warehousing function. And what else thing the customer of PHL can do? The customer of PHL can rest assured that the thing will be, or the goods or the article will be delivered on time by the PHL. Now moving further, the following information is available. The first point, each warehouse of the PHL is solely responsible for all the customer within a specified area. It means what the company did, PHL, the PHL allocate the different area to its warehouses. Like the warehouse will collect the courier and deliver the courier only from and to the person who are residing within this area. It means a specific area allocation has been done. Further moving, it collects the courier from the resident within or residing within the ambit of its own area for the delivery, both within the specified area covered by the warehouse and elsewhere in the India. It means it collects, deliver within its region and also deliver outside its region. But don't deliver himself or itself. It took the help of other warehouses to do so. Ye aane wale point mein padenge. Point number 2. After collection of the courier, a warehouse forward them for the delivery outside its own area to the warehouses from which the delivery are to be made to the customer. It means if some resident in the area of warehouse 1 book the courier in the name of the person who reside in the warehouse 2. Then the warehouse 1 booked the courier, took the money and took the courier from the person and sent the courier to the warehouse 2. And warehouse then delivered that courier to respective person. This thing is mentioned in the point number 1 and 2. Moving further. Point number 3. Therefore, each warehouse must integrate its delivery to the customer, include courier it has collected within own area and courier that is being transferred to it from the other warehouse. Now, in our case, the W2 may have some courier which it received from W1. which it need to deliver within the W2 jurisdiction. And W2 also has some courier which it received from the resident of W2, but it need to deliver it to some other resident of W2. It means inside the circle and courier from outside the circle are there. Okay. Friends, now moving further. Each warehouse, I'm reading the point number 4. Each warehouse revenue is based upon the invoice value of all the courier collected. It means the revenue is arising based upon the source of the courier, not the destination of the courier. Fifth point, each warehouse cost consists its own operating plus some allocated proportion, including the centralized administration services and distribution center cost. What does it mean? It means apart from incurring their specific cost, they are bearing the burden of some shared cost. Is it okay as per the responsibility counting? Answer is no. Because in the responsibility counting, the person is held responsible only for its act. And they are bearing the burden of the shared cost, the corporate cost. Further, the point number 6. Management team and all the employees of each warehouse are paid the incentive, which remain payable quarterly. The bonus is based upon the achievement of the series of target values. So there is one good thing, that reward is being paid, but it is paid only when the warehouse achieved the target value. It means if in the warehouse one employee is efficient, but another employee is not efficient, efficient employee need to bear the burden of inefficient employee, because the reward is not at employee level, it is at warehouse level. Number 1, this is the weakness of reward system. Second thing, the reward is based upon the point which you score. So obviously we need to compute certain points, certain value, whether we attain the target or not. So this can be seen as what? As benchmarking. It means some benchmark is given to them. If they attain the benchmark, we'll give them the point and give them the bonus. If they don't attain the benchmark, we'll not give them the point and will not give them the bonus too. Okay. Moving to the point number 7, friends. Internal benchmarking is used. So there are multiple warehouse 1, warehouse 2, warehouse 3. What we do, we identify the best warehouse and ask the rest of the warehouse to follow the same. Agreed? So internal benchmarking is done. Further moving, don't worry, we'll need to study the different type of benchmarking that we do in today's class only. Okay. Further, the point number 8, an actual exhibit the target value and the actual value achieved, so that you can compare the actual with the target and then assign the points for each of the sample group for the 4 warehouses situated in the city SG, HK, NY, NZ. So they ask you to do the performance evaluation only of the 4 warehouses. Then what are the target value? Means what are the measures? What are the KPIs which you are considering in order to measure the performance? The first KPI is warehouse revenue and profitability. The second KPI is courier delivery service and customer care. The third KPI hub or the KPI group is what? The credit period control and administration efficiency. Then further, the data is given to you. You can see in case of city SG, what is the target revenue? 24 million. And what is the actual revenue? 22.50 million. It means point should not be given. In case of HK, the target was 21 million, but actual performance was 27 million. So they must be allocated with 1 point. Similar way, NY shall not be given with the point, but must be given with the point because they need to attain 18 million, but they attained the sale of or the revenue of 21 million. NZ also get the point because they need to make a sale of 27 million, but in actual they make the sale of 33 million. So SG not get the point, but whereas rest of the 3 must get the point. So what we did in the last class, friends, based upon this knowledge, we prepare such a table where we give the points to the 4 different warehouses. Okay. So now what I believe that you understand the question and you can prepare this chart even if you didn't attend the previous class along with me. And those, my friend, who attend the previous class along with me, obviously they helped me to prepare this chart. So I will let you do the chart now, instead of discussing each of the item, because in the previous class we already did that. If you didn't attend, don't worry, after this class you can attend the last 30 minutes of the previous class. Okay, so what are the different parameters? Discuss once again with me. Under the KPI head of revenue and the profit, they discuss or consider the revenue, they consider the profit. Based upon that, they make the ranking. The warehouse NY scored the 2 point, but whereas rest of the warehouse score only 1 point. Then in the next category, the courier delivery and customer care services, you again can see the NY score 6 points, whereas the rest of the warehouses score 4, 3, and 1 respectively. What are the different measures under the courier delivery service and customer care service? The measures are late collection of courier, misdirected courier, delayed response, then vehicle breakdown, then lost item, then damaged item. It means those who has 1 here, in their case, the late collection of courier are less than the tolerance limit. In those cases where it is 0 here, in their case, it means if the limit is of the 3%, then they collect more than 3% courier late, then it should be. Agreed? It means 0 denote here bad performance, 1 denote here good performance against the parameter mentioned here. And we not arbitrarily written it. In the last class, we studied the fact given in the question, and then based upon these tables, we make this particular chart. Like we compare this, that how much of the courier late collect, how much courier collect on a time, then how much misdirected courier, how much delayed delivery courier. Okay, based upon that, we prepare the table which I just showed to you. Now read the requirement along with me. What is the first requirement? Read it very carefully. Required. Prepare a report for directors of PHI. Now, the first thing which I share with you, friend, which I want to share with you, whenever you draft a report or you ask to draft a report in the paper number 5, then you need to care about 5 elements. What are those elements? Let me discuss with you. Then we'll come back to the question. The first thing which you need to care about while drafting the report, audience or the target group or the user or the use. Because once you understand what is the use, who is the reader, it helps you in a 2 way. 1, you will draft accordingly. If you are writing it for board of directors, then you will use the word we advise, then you will not say we recommend. But if it is mentioned you appointed as consultant, you need to recommend, then you will use the word recommend. And secondly, based upon the audience, you come to know what is their understanding on the subject. If you are preparing the report for the board of directors, obviously they are expert. So you can use the word which can be technical in nature. Otherwise, you need to use the plain language. Agreed? For example, if it is mentioned, the CEO don't understand much about the performance, but he need a report from you, then you must use layman language more rather than the technical word, because it's clear-cut mentioned that he don't understand performance much. Agreed? Second thing which you need to care about, the date of report and period covered by report. Likewise, the question which we are solving, in that particular question, we are evaluating the performance whether for an year or for only a month, that is need to be identified, and on which date we are preparing the report, because the fact written in the report are valid on that particular day, and then thereafterward the ratio may change. Agreed? Then further, the depth and the width of the report. Width means what matter the report will cover. Okay, and this is shown by the subject line. And the depth means what are the things which will be covered What are their scope? Here we say report is about what. Here we say what it comprises of under that particular heading. The depth can be too high or maybe less depending upon the marks in the question. If it is too high and data is a complex, then you must use the different annexures in order to ease up your data, and don't mention much of the thing in the body part of the report. In the body only you mention either the advices or the recommendation. Okay. Then the format. It may be possible that some format is given to you in the annexure of the question. And obviously, if you are doing the reporting part of larger MIS, you need to care about the format. Otherwise, there is a no standard format, but make sure you must start with the name of addressee, then the date, then the you can say that department or the name of the company, then the subject line, then obviously the body matter which you need to mention, and then the closing remark and your name and designation. Okay. One last thing, the detail of writer. This thing very carefully need to be mentioned, the detail of writer. But whenever you close the report, you must write one thing. What thing you need to mention? That in order to get more information, you need not to hesitate to reach back to me. Okay, so this is a standard format which is usually prescribed to each of the student, although I just put a line rather than writing. But what it is addressee, then the organization of addressee, date. After the date, you need to mention here the subject on which the report is prepared, or in regard to which the report is prepared. Then in the opening paragraph, usually cover the scope of the report. In the next paragraph, you must give the reference to the technical content or the annexure. In third paragraph, always give your advices or the recommendation. In the last, write down if any of anything need to be required, you can contact the undersigned, then mention your name and mention the capacity in which you are writing a report, as a management accountant or as a consultant or whatsoever be the thing given to you in the question. Okay, this discussion is only from the perspective of academic aspect which you need to mention. Now come back to the question. So what asked to you? Prepare a report or prepare a report for the director of the PHL. Analyze the comparative performance of the 4 warehouses. And we already prepared the table in the last class, which I just discussed with you. And you can see the point. The highest point scored by NY, which are nothing but the 12. So who is the best performer? The best performer is NY, and NY scored 12 points. Agreed? Then thereafterward, SG and then HK. Both SG and HK scored 8 points. And at the last, there is NZ. So least performing warehouse is NZ, and the NZ scored the 4 point. Now friends, learn one technical aspect here, which is not there in the study right now. If you prepare such a table where you rank different division of the organization or different organization which are part of any benchmarking task or any benchmarking effort, then that table is known as league table. Basically, league table shows which one is the best performer and what are the following organization to the best organization or best division. It may possible that in question you find the requirement that you need to draw the league table. If this is the requirement to you in the question, then what you will do? You will write down the name of the warehouses in the order of the points scored by them in the scorecard. Agreed? I hope it is clear to you. Now, what is the requirement of the question? That you need to analyze the performance. Okay. How you will analyze the performance? You will say NY is the best performing department. It scored the full in all the categories. Maximum 12 marks are possible and it scored 111 in each. There is no point where it not scored the marks. It means it is the best performing department or the warehouse. Agreed? Then you move to the next SG. What you will mention for the SG? That the performance of the SG are average. It is done reasonable in all the sphere. Then you move to the HK. HK done well in the category of credit control. You can see here, it scored 4 out of 4 in the credit control. But it scored only 50% here in the courier service and customer services. So HK needed to focus on its customer services. Agreed? And last one is the NZ. You need to mention that the performance of NZ is not acceptable, except the credit. In the credit, it scored 2 out of the 4. But here it scored only 1 out of the 6. Here it's also scored again 1 out of 6. If you see the suggested answer of this question, friends, by the ICAI, the performance is evaluated or analyzed based upon these heads. Likewise, they make 3 paragraphs. Analyze the performance of 4 warehouses based upon the revenue and profit. Although that can be done, but that is not the best way, because you are not appraising the performance in each block. You are appraising the performance for each warehouse. So whenever you answer the question and there are 1 or 2 organizations in the benchmarking question, you must write it from the perspective of the organization rather than the measure. Okay, don't go for the measure. Okay, we'll take one or first measure block, which is the revenue and the profit. Then evaluate the performance according to the performance in these 2 measures. No, this is not the best way to do. What is the professional way to do, or what is the expected from you? That you need to suggest the performance of each of the participating organization. Okay, now moving further, the second requirement of the question. Assess PHL from the perspective of the financial performance, service quality, resource utilization, flexibility, innovation, and competitiveness. Friends, I strongly believe after reading these 6 words, something come to your mind. And what is that thing? These are nothing but the dimensions block under the building block model. We studied one model whose name is building block, and under that particular model we studied the dimension block along with the block of the reward and along with the block of the measures. Agreed? And then what we studied, that out of this 6 dimension, 2 are result dimension. What are 2 result dimension? This performance, financial performance, and competitiveness. These 2 are result dimensions, whereas rest 4 are what? They are determinant. So for those friends who are attending this class with me but didn't attend the class where we solve or learn building block, for them I am again quoting. Please listen very carefully. Friends, result means outcome. These are nothing. These are the parameter of your performance. These are those dimensions in which you are measuring your performance. And these are those dimensions which can improve your performance. What does it mean? If you improve the quality, your performance will improve. If you improve the resource utilization, you can say that take it to the optimal level, then your performance will improve. If you enhance the flexibility, your performance will improve. If you continually do the innovation, your performance will improve. It means these 4 are upstream parameter which are improving the performance. But whereas these 2 are what? These are nothing but the result in which we measure the performance. Agreed? So financial and competitiveness, these are the outcome. And these are what? These are the function. If you work on these 4, then your performance will improve. Okay. What you need to do? You need to assess the PHL performance. Now we will assess the PHL performance based upon these elements. Yes, Chari, absolutely fine. Results and determinants. Very good. Further, read along with me the answer which should you need to write in the part number 2. Okay. We know the 6 thing which is mentioned to you belong to building block model. 2 out of them are result, the financial performance and competitiveness. And 4 out of them are determinant. Number 1, the quality. Number 2, the resource utilization. Number 3, the flexibility. And number 4, innovation. These are the 6 things given to you. Now, firstly, evaluate the performance from the perspective of finance. There can be 3 aspects: revenue, profitability, then credit or liquidity. Revenue related data given to you here, profit related, whereas NZ and HK didn't well. What do you basically need to do? You need to identify which warehouse performing good in that measure and which warehouse not performing good under that particular measure. Although if you see the suggested answer again, what is done? Only discussion taken place that they explain what are these measures. No, you need not to only explain. You also need to code that which of the warehouse performed well and which of the warehouse not performed well. Agreed? Now moving further. Competitiveness. The market share. Although data is not given in the question, customer base data not given in the question, increase in revenue data not given in the question. These are major parameters based upon which you can measure your competitiveness. Or you can measure your competitiveness based upon the aspect how much amount of the market share in term of the customer you are serving. So that data is also not given. Hence, the quantifiable thing cannot be written. But what you need to write, like the total revenue of the company. If you allow me to show, I will show you. Just give me a minute. Here, you can see what is the targeted revenue. Targeted revenue was 300, but whereas how much of the revenue they actually earn? 360. It means they are improving their market share. They expect to sell only 300, but they make the sale of the 360. So they make the sale of 60 million extra. The 60 million which they sold more than their expectation. It means they are doing good. They are doing reasonable. Another aspect. And it's not that they are making more sale by reducing the prices. They are earning the enhanced revenue as well, all profit as well. Although their target for the profit was only 45. But how much of the profit company overall earning? The company overall earning 48. So they are doing well. So some interpretation can be taken from this. Okay. Now the remaining 4 determinant. Quality. Quality means the kind of customer services you are providing. So you can refer this block, the second block, and based upon this, you can judge the performance of the company. That only one warehouse is scoring full marks, but whereas the rest of warehouse not doing well, whereas the NZ is performed really bad. It need to improve in order to improve the overall performance of the company. Then the second aspect, resource utilization. Resource utilization means what? That effective use of the asset available. Since it is a logistic company, hence it need to use the truck driver and the space in truck in very efficient manner. What does it mean? That if it identifies that on a single route, the material is not that much that it need to send multiple trucks, then it need to cut down the schedule and send only one truck. But if on particular route, there are many material need to be delivered, then that truck need to be sent, which is you can say with that facility that any of article can easily be identified, which is not properly, you can say that need to be packaged in very complex manner, so that at each station where the goods need to be delivered, they need to open the truck and open the packings, and then they can only deliver. So the need-based decision need to be taken. And secondly, the driver need to be allocated only to those routes regarding which they are aware. then they will drive fastly and can reduce the time on the road, which will not only result in the fuel efficiency, but also result in less labor hour, which will overall improve the performance of the company. So I hope you understand what is the mean of this resource utilization. And one more thing, BHL also doing the warehousing. And in the warehousing, by do the warehouse, they must try to, you can say that, serve those customers whose goods are more valuable, because it will took less space, only value is high, rather than the quantification or the volume is high. So it need to be choosy bit while choosing its customer in order to make more money, because obviously space in the warehouse is limited. Agree? What company can do? Company can use the OR technique. Friends, prior to this SCM paper, there was AMA in which 30 marks OR was asked. And in that, there was a paper, there was a chapter of transportation problems. So transportation problem can be used. Different method of transportation problem like northwest method, least cost method need to be identified in order to identify on which of the route which truck need to be sent. Okay. So moving further, the third thing, flexibility. Many of my friends still not be aware about the flexibility. I must tell you what is the meaning. So the meaning of flexibility is what? How quick, how good you are in order to respond to the changing need of your customer. If your customer express you or come to you with the change need, are you able to deliver that need or not? Take an example along with me in case of the warehouse company or in the case of logistic or the courier company. The company or some corporate office call you. We have 100 courier, but out of 100 courier, 3 are very urgent. These are the tender. If we not submit it, we may lose the tender. So you need to pick this right now and ensure us that you will deliver it to the respective destination within the 2 days. If you able to do so, you render them express service rather than a normal service, then you are flexible enough. But if you're not able to meet the need of your customer and your customer lose the tender due to you, then what he'll do, he'll not further on give the business to you. So flexibility is very important in any sort of the business. Okay. So read here along with me. What come under the flexibility? That if any of a late collection is there, if any of delayed response to the complaint booked by the customer, you can see here, it is one of the parameter, and rest all 3 warehouse doing good, but NZ didn't score in it. It means NZ not responding to the complaint of the customer. So you need to improve on these things. As I already mentioned, that result dimension measure the performance. Determinant dimension not measure the performance. It help you to improve the performance. So these 4 things which we are studying are helping you to improve the performance. We are studying how that we can improve the performance. We simply say that we need to be more flexible so that we can avoid late collection, so that we can avoid delayed response. What can be done? It may possible that we are the good logistic company, we are the good warehouse company, but we are not good in the BPO services. We are not able to respond to the call of the customer. Then we must hire some BPO KPO, so that on our behalf someone can respond to our customer and tell what is the location of their courier. What else we can do? We can also subcontract some of the tasks to some local firm. Okay, you collect the courier on our behalf and then give it to the warehouse hub, and then we'll do at our end. So we can use the outsource services in order to improve our flexibility. Okay, the last determinant, that is the innovation. How we can do the innovation? One of the innovation is already there, that is the reward system. When you need to improve the performance now, then you must show the red carrot. Only then the horse or the you can say that cow will run if you show the red carrot. So you need to follow the red carrot approach. It means it is good that you are having the reward system, but identify that despite having the reward system, why the performance is not improving. It may be possible that some of the employee think, okay, efficient worker are doing their task. What we need to do? Leave it. They are doing now. We need not to do. So you need to take this group bonus system, group reward system to individual reward system, so that everyone must excel. Okay. Further, the performance innovation need to be done. What sort of performance innovation can be done? You need to improve the customer experience. How the customer experience can be improved? Likewise, install the tracking system. Give a e-way bill number so that the customer can track its courier from its own end. So this way you can do the innovation and improve the performance of the company. I hope the second part is clear to you. So whenever you got a question on the building block, no doubt if the data is available, you can measure the quality. You can measure the resource utilization. But if data is not available now, then you must think based upon the data or the fact given in the question that what are the possible way to improve the performance and suggest those way in the question itself. Okay, friends. Now moving to the third requirement, which was asked in the question. The third requirement is evaluate the performance measurement system. Whenever you see the word evaluate, now you need to do two things. You need to tell the pros as well as you need to tell the cons. Means you need to tell the benefit as well as the disadvantages. So the first benefit is what? The performance reward system at PHL is simple, easy to use, because you need to see the actual performance against some target performance and then give the number 1 or 0, 1 or 0. So there is no subjectivity. It is highly objective. Partiality cannot be done. Agreed? Moving further. Clear criteria and a benchmark. Each of the division know that what is the target for them. And the target is also fair. Like if we allow late collection of the courier, then to all the warehouses, we allow the same percentage, 333, number one. And number two, that everyone know prior to the start of the period that only 3% courier it can receive late. It means if in the first 2 weeks of the month, their performance is not good, they can work hard in the third and the fourth week in order to meet the target. So there is always the advantage of having the clear target. We learn this thing while we studying the relation between the KPI, CSF, and this objective. That objective and KPI need to be smart. It means it must be straightforward, measurable. So if you have a target which is a measurable, quantifiable, it's always advantages. Okay. Now moving further. Last one. What is another advantage? Linked with the reward. It's not only that you are measuring the performance, you are also getting the reward on a quarterly basis based upon your performance. It means if someone improves the performance, it can enhance the quantum of the reward. Okay. But what are the weakness? The first weakness is it is a less equitable. Why less equitable? Because it is a company which decide that what jurisdiction come under the W1, what jurisdiction come under the W2. Let's take an example. If all the industry and institution are under the area allocated to W2, but whereas largely residential area are under the W1, obviously the revenue of W1 will be less than the revenue of W2. So you need to fix the target accordingly, that what area allocated to them. If you are ignoring the area allocated to them, like under the W3, the geographical area is wider because it is not populated dense. There are less number of people. So you say, okay, you will cover more area. But if they get the demand of collecting courier here, obviously they need more travel time rather than W1 if need to collect it from here. So late collection, delayed delivery, they gave only same target to all the 4 warehouses, which seems bit unequitable. I hope the point is clear to you. Another problem with it is what? The problem is that they need to fix the benchmark, like 3%, 2%, and whosoever fix the benchmark may not able to understand all the nitties and gritties of the process. Hence, what is need to be done? That performance metrics shall be made by cross-functional team, where the functional representative of all the domain are there, so that a proper target must be established. I hope this question is quite clear to you. Why I spend more time on this particular question? Because it is only a single question on the benchmarking, and it is a beautiful question where the benchmarking is tested along with the, because internal benchmarking is tested here. Benchmarking is tested along with the building block model. So I'm very much hopeful, okay, for this question. Now moving further. Now what we need to do? The theory is pending for this benchmarking. We need to study that theory. So we'll quickly study the different types of the benchmarking and the various steps of the benchmarking. Okay. So we already studied the meaning. We only need to now study the type as well as the steps. Now let me take you to the discussion. Okay. I hope the screen is visible to all of you. Now quickly listen the story along with me. Okay. In the form of story, we'll try to cover every classification and then the various steps. Okay. But prior to move into the classification, let me tell you one thing. If I ask you what is an organization, then what answer you will give? Most probably you will say, sir, organization is nothing but the group of the people who are working for the common objective. And in order to attain the common objective, they perform certain processes. So the next question arises, what do you mean by that process? Your answer may be, sir, process is the chain or the sequence of related activity in which certain input inserted in order to generate output. Okay, accepted. Then my question may be which related to your explanation is that, okay, then tell me what is the activity? You'll say, sir, activity is an action which is performed by some functional expert. Agreed? But this discussion is quite technical. How we need to understand it? Now understand it with the help of example. There is an hospital. It need to get the approval from the NAB. NAB is what? National Accreditation Body of Hospital. Okay. There is some university or a school. It need to get the approval from the NAC, National Accreditation Council of Academics. There is a medical research institute. It needs to get the approval from ICMI, Indian Council of Medical Research. Basically, this company is making coronavirus medicine. So when an organization need to get the approval, we say organization is in the process of getting the approval. So getting approval is a process. Obviously, when approval need to be taken, someone need to fill the form of authority through which the approval is sought. Then some liaison department need to furnish this form to the department. Then obviously, along with form, certain fee need to be paid, and that fee will be paid by the finance department. So it means we perform a chain of the function. Some administration people prepare the form, liaison people submit it to the department and continue the communication with the department from which the approval is required. And the finance people make the payment of the fee, which is need to be accompanied to the form. Agreed? And these activities represent certain function, liaison function, the finance function. Why I explain this thing to you? Because here I'm going to discuss the two different type of benchmarking along with you, process benchmarking and function benchmarking. Prior to discuss these two, because I'll not say process benchmarking, process copy curly or function benchmarking, function copy. No, you must understand the technical difference between the two. Now you're able to understand the difference. So process is a continuous chain of the related activity. It's a wider thing. But whereas the function is a discrete action. Okay, I'll take another example for you. Making sale is a process. But when you make a sale team fetch the order. Logistic team transfer or deliver the material. Finance team raise the invoice. The customer relation team take the feedback. Is it only the one function? No, every function play its role, its action. And those set of action become the process. Okay. So now, friend, we'll go into the classification of the benchmarking. The first basis upon which we can classify the different form of the benchmarking is scope or the content. Basically, which thing we are going to imitate, copy, or benchmark. The first benchmarking is the process benchmarking. Basically, what we do, we here try to gain understanding of the process which we are performing and try to improve our process by copying the process performed at the benchmarking partner. Agreed? Moving further, functional benchmarking. In the functional benchmarking, we'll see how particular set of function, be it finance function, be it accounting function, be it payroll function, performed at benchmark partner, and we'll try to perform accordingly. For example, if we see our benchmark has an ERP system and we still preparing the books of accounts on the manual system, we must also shift to the ERP. We will go. If we see that the school against which we benchmark ourselves is using the campus management system, CMS, but we are not using any campus management system, then we must also move to the campus management system. Agreed? Further, the performance benchmarking. What is the performance benchmarking? Performance benchmarking is a benchmarking when we compare our performance in terms of outcome against the performance of the benchmark organization. For example, if I measure that how much my return on investment against the return on investment of the organization against which I am doing the benchmarking, then it will be known as performance benchmarking. There is another name famous for the performance benchmarking, is the competitive benchmarking. Okay, both are the same, but the performance benchmarking is more reliable name and the term. Okay, so what you need to say, if we are comparing the outcome of two organizations, where one organization is that which is intimating, where the another organization is one against which it is doing the benchmarking. Okay, further, strategic benchmarking. If you follow the strategy, business plan of the organization against which you are doing the benchmarking, then it will be known as strategic benchmarking. What does it basically mean? The GO come up with the cost leadership strategy. The rest of the player also cut down the prices of their internet pack, data packs. So it means they follow the strategy. They follow the strategic plan of the GO. Although they're forced to do so or they willingly do so, that's not a matter of concern. But basically they are doing what? And it's a usual saying, it's a proverb. When you don't understand your competitor, now start following it. Only make sure he's doing better than you. Okay. So strategic benchmarking is one when you're trying to imitate the benchmark partner based upon the strategy followed by him. Okay. Further, the product benchmarking. This benchmarking is also known as reverse engineering. Reverse engineering. Basically, what you do under this, you pick up the product of your competitor and unassemble the product and start understanding what are the different parts installed or assembled in it, so that you can also make the similar product. Okay, I hope these 5 categories of benchmarking are clear. Now, friend, listen very carefully. When you do these 5 categories of the benchmarking, it may be possible that you are doing it against another division within the organization. You are doing it against another company within the same group, like Tata Motor doing it against Tata Steel. Or you are doing it against altogether different group, like the Tata is doing against the Ambani or any other company. Or you may possibly identify some global company like Tata is doing against Hyundai, Tata Motor. Agreed? So these are nothing but the scope of the benchmarking, which thing you are going to imitate. And this classification is based upon the boundary. Basically, it is nothing but telling you against whom you are doing the benchmark, whether that person is within the same organization, same group, same country, or outside the country. Okay. So if the geographical boundary are different, means the location of benchmarking partner is in the another country than the country in which you are located, then it will be known as global benchmarking. But it may be possible that you are doing the benchmarking against the entity which is in the same country, but may possibly it is a different industry. Like in the case of Xerox, example of which we took in the last class, they did the benchmarking for the billing and collection against the American Express. Although they both are from different industry, but it may possible that you are not doing the benchmarking within the same industry. It may possible that you identify some another industry, because functional benchmarking in the cross industry is possible. How you hire the employee, it's insignificant whether you are producing chair or you are producing furniture or you are producing home appliances. The process of hiring the labor shall be same or mostly same. So if someone has a best functional expertise in that, then there is nothing bad in copying the same. Okay. So you simply need to see whether you are copying against the other division. There are different divisions, division 1, division 2, division 3. You are copying against the different division, like we did the question PHL. In that, what we are doing, internal benchmarking, we are measuring the performance of 4 different warehouse against each other. Agreed or not? And what is external benchmarking? Where the different company in the same group can be taken, or different company in the same industry can be taken, or even though altogether different industry can be taken. Now the last category of the classification, competitive benchmarking and collaborative benchmarking. In the collaborative benchmarking, you enter into the contract with your benchmarking partner and they support you to improve yourself. Both are working together. In organization 1, the function 1, function 2, function 3 is good. In organization 2, function 4 and 5 is good. What they say, okay, you teach me function 4 and 5, I'll teach you function 1, 2, 3. It may possible, this is known as a collaborative benchmarking, but it may possible that you are doing the performance benchmarking, which is against your competitor. And it is tough to do. Why this one is tough to do? Because you are not gonna get the data. I hope the different type of benchmarking are clear to you. What I did in the notes, I make a small explanation of each so that it becomes easy for you to revise. You need not to write. You already has a pre-written notes. You simply need to highlight the important word and in order to remember the same. Now we are moving to the benchmark process. The process, friends, which I am going to explain is not a generic process. It is the process based upon the experience of Xerox. Okay. The Robert C. Kemp, he wrote a book in which he explained the process followed by the Xerox. And I must tell you that the Xerox did 2 phases of the benchmarking. The first phase of the benchmarking was the competitive benchmarking or performance benchmarking. And the second time they did functional benchmarking. It means the model which is given below, which is a 12-step model, is not applicable to all sort of benchmarking. It is not applicable to the product benchmarking. It may possible it is not applicable to the strategic benchmarking, but it will be applicable to the process benchmarking. It will be applicable to functional benchmarking. It will be applicable to performance benchmarking. Okay, so it may possible that certain modification needed to be done when practically we apply it. But what is given in our study material, we are studying the same. So this model is given in the study material, a 12-step model, and I am explaining the same for you. You can see here, this model is given. Okay, I'm explaining the same for you. So listen very carefully. Again, I'll explain in the form of the story so that you can easily grab the same. Understand the first step, friend. What is the first step? The first step is identify what to benchmark. What basically it means? You will not benchmark all the activity. You'll identify critical success factors. You'll first try to benchmark these. And whether it is advisable to do the benchmarking of all the CSF? No. CSF are like backbone. If you change all the CSF in one go, it may possible that entire organization paralyzed if benchmark not remain successful. Hence, don't go for pilot implementation. Go for phased implementation of benchmarking. Identify few critical success factors and benchmark them. Stabilize your organization. Then identify your other critical success factor. Do the benchmarking. Then again consolidate or stabilize. Then do again the benchmarking. Okay. So here is an important thing for you, which is very, very important. Because I'm expecting question on the benchmarking. And question may be in form of case study. So something else from benchmarking asked in the same question. Then what combination you make at benchmarking along with PCDCA cycle? Benchmarking is nothing but like PCDCA. You make a plan, what thing causes trouble to you, where your performance is not acceptable. Then you start looking for the potential solution, what you can do in order to overcome that. You start identifying the benchmarking partner, what can be done, what thing can be copied from them. Then you check whether the thing which I'm going to do, against which I'm going to do benchmark, is okay for me or not. Then finally you implement the copied process or imitate the benchmark partner. It means you did what? You act on the plan which you make. So the PDCA cycle, which is given by Edward Deming in the year 1950, that can be seen in a nexus with the benchmarking, and both are in your syllabus. So I'm very hopeful that you may find a question in which the company needed to apply the benchmarking and they ask you that how company ensure benchmarking must succeed. Then you need to say that PDCA cycle need to be used while doing the benchmarking in order to ensure that it must be successful. Friend, here I wish to add another value to you. And it's not only important to keep on doing the PDCA. You did the PDCA. You identify something new. You implement something new. But you keep on doing the PDCA. But what it will do? Because you are doing the rapid changes in order to improve your organization, what will happen? There will be no SOP. Because you keep on changing the process, you keep on improving the process. What happens? The employee will not become familiar with one set of practice. So what is need to be done? After one PDCA, you need to stabilize your industry for a movement, for a 3 month or a 6 month. Then another PDCA. Then again stabilize. So you can see here, some organization wish to improve its performance from here to here. It perform one PDCA. And then what they do? The thing which they copied from some other organization, they make it standard practice. They make it SOPs, standardized operating procedure. And then they wait for some time so that organization stable here. Organization digest this improvement. And then they did another improvement. They apply this Deming wheel of the PDCA. But then they again try to consolidate here with help of making it part of their standardized operating procedure. So you need to apply benchmarking as a continuous technique. That thing we already learned in the previous lecture or the session, that benchmarking is a continuous after. No doubt you keep on to, you can say that identifying the best organization within the country, outside the country, within the industry, outside the industry, you keep on improving. But after each improvement, you must inculcate the improved practice as part of your standardized operating procedure. I hope it's clear to you. What I did, I make a note of this. What is the note? That PDCA is help you to do the continuous improvement and control while doing the improvement. But what you need to do, you also need to implement SDCA along with PDCA. One PDCA, one SDCA, one PDCA, one SDCA. What it will do? It will help you to consolidate. And it's not said by me. It's said by whom? Taichi Honu. Taichi Honu is nothing but the VP of Toyota, who gave you the concept of JIT. The gentleman said that If there is a no standard, then there will be no Kaizen. Because if you include the improvement as your standardized operating procedure, only then worker know, okay, this is the practice for the days to come. And then they see lacuna in that practice and suggest to you what improvement can be done in the new practice, and that improvement can be seen as a Kaizen. So you can see a complex case study can be made on this, which may be asked in the examination, wherein you need to apply the Kaizen in the process of doing the PDDCA and apply the PDDCA in the process of applying the benchmarking. Don't worry. You'll get a booklet on your case study in a time to come, in which you may find similar questions. Okay. Further, find benchmarking partners. Obviously, you identify that which of the things you need to imitate. Now, from whom you need to imitate, that is also need to be identified. Now. So you are trying to identify your benchmarking partner. Make sure you always do the collaborative benchmarking. It's easy, it's comfortable. No doubt there is one problem. You'll lose the confidentiality of your data, someone else knowing your process. But in the benchmarking contract, you can, in the benchmarking agreement, you can add one clause, that is a confidentiality clause. Okay. Further, the third step, determine the data collection method and collecting the data. This is very important. Friend, when we started the discussion on this benchmarking, I mentioned one paragraph to you as very important paragraph for our discussion. And this was the paragraph where I highlight this word, International Benchmarking Clearinghouse. Basically, those organizations which in the past practice the benchmarking at any point of time become the member of such clearinghouses. And these clearinghouses has a data set that how one company can improve its performance. So if you approach this clearinghouse, then that clearinghouse can provide you the data. But this step is very important. Why? Because the success of benchmarking depends upon this particular step or stage. Okay. Moving further, determine the current performance gap. So what you need to do? Basically, you need to perform gap analysis. You need to write down here current performance. Okay. And obviously you identify your benchmarking partner. So you need to draw another line. This is nothing but the benchmark performance where you need to go. So you will be having a gap analysis. You know that what gap you need to cover and what are the resources required to cover this gap. Okay. So further, project the future performance. The curve which I prepare here now, this curve, benchmark curve, this is nothing but just projecting that where you will have to go. But friend, here you need to understand one thing. When you measure the gap between your performance and the performance of benchmark organization, entire gap is the scope of improvement. But can you fulfill that gap in a one go? Please see along with me very carefully, very carefully. This in gap is the scope of improvement. But if you start from here and reach here, you can easily fill this gap because your employee are very much motivated. They only seek few reward and they are ready to put effort. But you ask them to spend their weekends as well because you want to improve further. Now they are seeking high rewards. You ask them to spend their holidays, national holiday, casual leaves. They seek huge reward. It means if you wish to fill the few initial step of the gap, it is cheaper. But if you wish to fill the last steps of the gap, then it's costlier to you. So it's not always rational to fill the entire gap. No doubt, entire gap is the scope of improvement. But who asked you to be the 90% or 100%? Be 80% because it's cheap. So it means after identifying the gap, prior to making the effort to fulfill the gap, prior to establishing the target to fulfill the gap, what you need to do? Cost-benefit analysis. Because it may be possible that filling the entire gap is not making the sense. So do the cost-benefit analysis And then only you need to do what? You need to determine what projected future performance you will produce. Okay. So here you are doing nothing but just identifying your target, that where you need to reach. It may possible you are not completely benchmarking the organization against which you are comparing the performance. Okay. Communicate the finding and gain the acceptance. Obviously, when you are changing your process, the role of people will change, and change always causes resistance. Resistance need to be managed. Hence, you need to make those group part of the decision from whom you expect the resistance in order to mitigate the resistance. This is the best way to do ownership feature. Make them the owner of the change. Obviously, they will not resist. So what you will do? You will circulate the plan. We are looking for the change, and change is good. Achhe din aane wale. You need to convey to the people. And then only may possible that someone favor you. Moving further, establish the functional goal. Obviously, if you are moving to some new thing, then the role, responsibility, goal, objective, these will change. So you need to define new set of goals. The metrics of performance need to be redeveloped, reviewed, repaired, and reprepared. Okay. Further, develop the action plan. You need to ready with the action plan, the complete set of guidelines that how you will implement the change. Finally, implement the change and monitor the progress. While you are monitoring the progress, if you identify something is not correct, then you need to do what? Recalibrate. Again, fuel up your effort, make certain changes so that benchmarking can become successful. Now the step 11, attain the leadership position. Basically, this is a position where you able to imitate the benchmarking partner. Okay. Last, fully integrate practice into the processes. It means the thing which you copy, make it part of your standardized operating procedure. So you can see here you are making what? Plan. Here you are doing what? Evaluating what can be done. Here you are checking your decision again and again. Finally, you act. So PDCA is very much complementary to the benchmarking. And these 12 steps are distributed among the 5 phases: planning phase, analysis phase, integration of their processes into your process map, then finally implementing the change and ensuring that the change which you implement not only for once, it remain for ever. Agreed? So friend, now I'll take you back to the notes in order to showcase that we are done with the benchmarking. Only 1-2 small issues are remaining, which we'll cover. This we already covered, the classification of benchmarking. This is we just covered. What I did, I also write small explanation for you for each point, so that when you refer these notes again based upon the classroom discussion, you find that everything you studied and feel comfortable. Okay. So now the prerequisite for the successful benchmarking. There are 7 prerequisites. What are those? The first prerequisite is a commitment. So commitment must be there from the top management. Top management should lead from the front. Then second, clarity must be there. Each person must know what it needs to do. Objective of doing benchmarking, then clarity in terms of the change which will happen must be there. Appropriate scope. As we already mentioned, that entire gap need not to be filled. You only need to fill the gap which you can do with the available set of resources, which will not harm your objective much, which you can do within the available set of time. So you need to identify the scope of the benchmarking exercise. Okay. Then the correct selection of the benchmarking partner. It is very, very important. Contact partner is equally important. Contact partner is basically a partner which help you to, you can say that, reach to the benchmarking partner. And this is also the one of the participant in the benchmarking agreement. There are many firms like the Everest Group is there in India, even though the Big Four consultancy and other firms are doing this task that they help you to benchmark against some other organization. Okay. Further, the sufficient resources must be there in order to do the benchmarking. Obviously, you need to do the change. And for advancing the change, for, you can say that, convincing the employee to move to the change practice, you need to give them some motivation, and motivation in the form of the reward. Finally, you need to incur the money, basically. Okay. Then requisite skill and the competences, because you, if trying to copy the timetable of some brilliant student, then you also need to put in the time which is spent by him. So you also need to have same kind of the skill set which the benchmark partner is having. The last one, effective communication. Why effective communication? At two places. Number one, when you getting in the data. Secondly, when you are convincing your employees. At two places, your communication must be very effective, because if you get the wrong data, entire benchmarking will fail. If you don't able to convince your employees to do the benchmarking, to do the change, then again, it will not yield you anything. Now, some feature due to which either the benchmarking fails or succeed, means the caution feature, which can change your outcome for the benchmarking. Okay. Number one, benchmarking is a time consuming exercise. You see, there are 12 steps, and each step is not easy to do. It's a time consuming, it's a resource consuming, it's you can say that needing the emphasis from the top management. So there is a delusion at the top management level. So finally, benchmarking is not a one-day show. It's a continuous process. Okay. Further, the direct involvement of the senior manager. Hence, they need to spend their costly time, and also they'll get diluted from the strategic implementation. Static skill set and the competency, we already said, if you have, only then the benchmarking will be successful, otherwise it will not. Then the reliability of data is a critical factor. If the data which you rely on in order to do the benchmarking, then the benchmarking will be successful. It will yield you in result of increased productivity of your process or the function which you copied from the other. Otherwise, there will be no enhancement in the productivity. Then resistance from employee. Why there is a resistance? Due to change. We already mentioned, if you able to manage the resistance, then you are a master or the leader. If you are not, then obviously it will not yield you the best result. Allow for tailor-made. What does it mean? Very important. You try to imitate or copy some organization against some benchmark organization. What you say, I am working in different geographical region, I'll make certain changes. Okay. You say my size is different from that company, I make some changes. Okay. You say my people are not that much skilled, I make some changes. Okay. Then what you are copying then? If you leave everything by making excuses, how you become the best? Benchmarking is not for those who wish to tailor-make the thing according to their convenience. If you wish to imitate some best organization, imitate as it is. Don't try tailor-making. If you tailor-made, if you cut down some of the feature, if you cut down the thing which you can say stretch you, then how you will improve now? How you will become larger or longer? You'll not if you not stretch yourself. You need to stretch to reach out to the next level. Okay. Last thing, company may waste the time in the benchmarking non-critical function. As we already said, don't do benchmarking for non-critical function, only do for the critical success factors. Okay. Friend, in the last class, we studied that how benchmarking helps the rank Zorix. Basically, it helped the rank Zorix to win the awards like Deming Award, Macklin Brigid Award, and then the European Quality Award. These are the three leading awards which one organization can win in the quality, because the name which Zorix give to the benchmarking exercise is leadership through quality. So they basically do the benchmarking in order to enhance their quality. Okay, friends. With this, friends, benchmarking is clear. I'll give you a minute or two, stretch your body, regain the energy. We are moving to the next topic. That is nothing but the performance measurement in the case of not-for-profit organization. We are not going for break. I'm just giving you a minute or two to stretch your body. In the meantime, if you have any question related to the benchmarking, you can come back to me or you can write it in the query box right now. And I'm just giving you a minute so that you can gain the energy, because we are going to another topic. Very, very, very important. I need to solve 3 questions on this. Okay. Meantime, when you stretch now, I'll show you one thing. You can see here. These are the 27 questions, friend, which I expect from you that you will practice. Each one of you will practice these 27 questions. I'm expecting this. Okay. You can see here. Question up till here we already solved. Now there are 4 questions pending, and what we need to do after studying this concept, we need to solve 3 questions in today's class prior to leave. Okay, so your role is now very much important because you need to do certain calculation and also need to give me certain inputs. Okay. I hope you all are ready to learn the new concept, another new concept, which is the performance measurement in the not-for-profit sector. Are you ready? Can we move forward? चलिए दोस्तों जल्दी से आगे बढ़ते हैं and we'll learn how the not-for-profit organization are different from the for-profit organization and what are the things need to be kept in the mind. Okay, I have some pictures for you in order to understand this. So the first question arises, friends. Not-for-profit organization are not similar to the for-profit organization. Firstly, we need to understand why they both are not similar to each other. Then secondly, after identifying the reason that both are not similar to each other, the feature of, thank you Anjali. So in order to understand, obviously if two things are not similar, then their performance cannot be measured similarly. Then what we need to understand, if an FPO are not like FPO, then what are the different measures we can use in order to assess, evaluate the performance of not-for-profit organizations? Agreed? So first thing which we need to study is what? We need to study why not-for-profit sector is different from for-profit sector or for-profit organization. The difference is due to certain feature. The question arises, what are those features? The first feature is perform non-economic activity. The not-for-profit organizations are performing those activities which are non-economic in the nature. What does it mean? Means simply their objective is not earning the profit. That's why we are saying they are not for-profit organization. Their purpose of existence is not to earn profit. So this is the first feature of not-for-profit organization which make them different from the for-profit organization. Okay. Second feature, also require the amount of fund. Despite the fact that not-for-profit are not working for the profit, they are working for some social purpose. They are working for some environmental purpose. They are working for some religious purpose. But obviously, if they are working for some social purpose, then also in order to meet the need of the target group, they need the finances. So fund is also required for them. But they will not get the capital. What they will get? They get the donations. They get the corpus. They get the you can say that some amount of contributions by the people from the different part of the society. So one thing is very clear that they are not working for profit. Second thing is also clear that despite the fact that they are not working for the profit, but in order to perform the processes, in order to meet the vision or the mission of the organization, they also need the fund. Agreed? Moving further, wealth creation for the shareholder is not among the objective. As we already mentioned, that they are not taking money in form of capital. They took money in the form of the contribution, in form of the subscription, in form of donation. Hence, they are not responsible to pay back the money with the increased value. So they are not under the responsibility or under the obligation of wealth enhancement. They only need to do what? To attain the purpose for which they get the donation from the member. Agreed? Further, fourth feature of the not-for-profit organization, not expected or allowed to distribute the surplus among the stakeholder. It means they can't distribute dividend. They can't distribute profit in any other manner. In no manner they can distribute the surplus they have. What they need to do, whatsoever the money they get, they need to spend it for the stated objective of the not-for-profit organization. Agreed? Let's quickly revise these four features. They are not performing economic activity, they are performing non-economic activity. Number one. Number two, they also need fund. Number three, they are not responsible for wealth creation. Number four, they cannot distribute dividend. I hope the matter is clear to you. Due to these four features, the performance of the not-for-profit organization cannot be measured in terms of profitability because they are not responsible, they are not having objective to earn the profit. So, FPI cannot be applied. FPI means Financial Performance Indicator. Agreed? I hope the point is clear to you. But question arises, the person who contribute the money in form of donation, in form of corpus, in form of subscription, in form of contribution, may not require its money back, but he wishes to ensure that his money must be spent for the designated purpose. For example, if I contribute some money to the temple, then I'll make sure or willing to make sure that that money must be spent by the trust of the temple for the welfare of the weaker section or for the advancement of some construction of the temple. Similar way, if someone donated money to the Prime Minister Relief Fund or to any other relief fund for the purpose of the nation benefit, then don't you feel that person has a right or willing to know whether his money must be spent for the, you can say that designated purpose or not? Obviously, he has a right and he willing to do so. So what happened, despite the fact that not-for-profit organizations are not working for profit, profitability is not their objective, but sustainability is also their objective. And secondly, the contributor of the fund, because they also require fund now. So the contributor of fund willing to know the performance of organization, that how organization is doing. Are they applying the money for the defined purpose or not? Are they creating the value by applying the money for the designated purpose or not? Agreed? Although they are not willing to generate the value out of money in terms of the profit, in terms of the dividend, but they try to create the value out of the money contributed in terms of the satisfaction, in terms of social attainment, in terms of environmental attainment. Agreed? Now, friend, we understand this thing that not-for-profit organizations are different from the for-profit organization. We also understand this thing that despite they are different, we need to measure the performance because the fund contributor willing to know that whether their money is spent for the designated purpose or not. But there are few problems associated with not-for-profit organization in terms of measuring the performance. What are those problems? Study along with me. The first problem, difficult to quantify the cost and benefit. Why difficult to quantify? The reason of difficulty in order to quantify the cost and benefit is they are sometimes futuristic in the nature, number one, and number two, they are behavioral in the nature. Now you may ask me to give example. Please understand this with the help of example. Some school allowing the 5 students to study free. Now what benefit those 5 students will bring to the society, that is a matter of the future. And what sort of benefit they will bring into the society, that is also difficult to quantify. Hence, it's difficult to quantify the cost and benefit. So we can't simply say that the surplus is a signal of better performance and deficit is a signal of the bad performance. We can't simply say that if the benefit are more than the cost or less than the cost. We not in position to do so because it is difficult to quantify such a matter. I hope the matter is clear. But still, there is one way out. What is the way out? That you need to use not for profit indicator apart from for profit indicator or financial performance indicator. Okay, if you use non-financial performance indicator apart from financial performance indicator, then you may able to judge that how good this organization is performing. Don't worry, this thing will further understand with the help of the question when we'll solve the question. The second performance related problem or problem in measuring the performance and the commitment of the state. What they simply say, not for profit organization come into the play only when the government don't fulfill its goal. If the government of some state, which is a welfare state, work for the welfare of the people, the government ensure the shelter to all, government ensure food to all, then does any work left pending for such NGOs or such not-for-profit organization? Answer is no. So how effective the not-for-profit organization has a direct relationship with the performance of the government. If the government doesn't perform some of the tasks, then obviously those tasks remain pending for NGOs, for not-for-profit organization. Hence, if in the country where the government is taking care of the poor people, taking care of economic weaker people, taking care of aspect like environment, society, religion, then obviously the NGO has less work to do, so their performance obviously shattered by that. Further, multiple objective. Such NGOs has a diverse people's representation. For example, there is some not-for-profit organization in form of the Mohalla society. And in that colony or Mohalla or locality, the people of different religions stay. And everyone wishes to, you can say that, enjoy or you can say that make the celebration of the festive of their interest. Then it becomes sometimes difficult for NGO or the NFPO or the not-for-profit organization that which of the objective is important for us and which of the objective is not important for us. Then what the organization need to do in these cases, they need to do the prioritization. That which stakeholders need is more important. Take an example along with me. Providing the vaccine against the COVID, I believe, is a matter of social responsibility. Is not a matter of privilege. Government must distribute it free. This is my preview, individual preview. No doubt I am right now teaching on platform of some institute. So it's not a belief of institute, it's my individual belief. But I feel it's a matter of social importance. It must be given free. But if it is given free, then to whom it must be given free? Then we need to do what? Prioritize. Similar way, if not-for-profit organization is working in order to ensure the old age home, then what are the group of the people of the society which will first take to that old age home? If some organization is working for feeding the people, then the which geographical area or which locality they'll first start with. If some organization is working for providing the cheaper household or the cheaper shelter, then with the which group of society they are starting with, it need to be identified. And there are some common purpose organization. Likewise, they are doing the blood donation camp, they are doing the cleaning the roads, they are doing plantation, they are also engaged in this educating the poor child, they are also engaged in the old age home. Then which of the objective need to be put first? This is also a matter of concern. Okay. Further, measuring the utility of the fund. This is most difficult aspect. What we are studying the various problems which an NGO or not-for-profit organization face while measuring their performance. And the fourth problem which they face is measuring the utility of the fund. I don't know, many of you might studied the behavior finance or heard the term behavior finance. In behavior finance, what we do, it is not like the economics considered as a decimal science, but whereas behavior finance help you to understand the utility of money or utility of finance. Similar thing we are talking here. We hereby not investing the money. We are here spending the money. Since we are spending the money, so we can't measure the return as output. We have to measure the return in form of utility. But the question arises, how you will measure the utility? Take an example. If some trust is working in the area where poverty is high, even though despite they are having the corpus of 1 lakh, they has very much utility. But if there is another trust which is working in the area where the people are from middle income group or lower middle income group, they are not below poverty line, and they are having 10 lakh rupee, can they add the similar value? Answer is no. So it is not a matter of concern that how much of the capital you are having. In order to create the utility to the society, there are certain other matters too which influence this aspect. Hence, we can't simply measure the return in the case of not-for-profit organization. Then what is the solution? The solution is we must measure value for money. We can't identify that, okay, we use the fund. What is the benefit out of that? Then what we must ensure that there must be value for money. Whatsoever the money we spend, we must be able to generate or create the value for that. There is behavioral advantages, there is qualitative benefit, there is upliftment of the society. If we able to ensure, then it means we are worth spending the money. Okay, now how we will ensure that? We will ensure that by ensuring the 3 E's. Although now these E are not only 3, these become 5, but there are 3 major E. We firstly discuss those. The first E is effectiveness. What does it mean, effectiveness? Spend wisely. Spend wisely means you must attain the output what should be. Okay. Now, in order to understand this, let me explain this diagram to you. There is organization which is not-for-profit organization which performs certain process in order to uplift the society. Obviously, it will insert certain resources. Likewise, it feed the people from the society, it provide the shelter. So the food it buy and the places it create for the shelter purpose, that is nothing but the input. And then it give that food to the poorer. This is the process. And what is the output? That is nothing but the value or the satisfaction. Okay. So organization has an objective that it must feed 100 people. For that, it buy 50 kg of the food. So that 500 gram of food must be given to each of the person. Okay. First thing which we need to see is what? Are we able to meet our objective? Are we able to meet the feed 100 people? If yes, then we are effective. If no, then we are not effective. So what does effectiveness means? Meeting the objective. If your outcome, actual outcome, is equal to the standard outcome or expected outcome, then you are effective, otherwise you are not effective. So I hope the meaning of effectiveness is clear to you. Agreed? Now taken another example around. Or same example, but another aspect of the example. You need to see that how much of the money you spend in order to buy this 50 kg of the food. If the 50 kg of food can be purchased for the 4,000 rupee, but you buy it for the 4,200 rupee, it means you are not economical. But if you buy it for 3,800 rupee, it means you are economical. So When an organization said to be economical, when it purchases or arrange the input by incurring the lowest possible resource. Agreed? Now the same example, third thing, process. What you try to do with help of 50 kg, you wish to feed 100 people. So what is your input output ratio? 1:2. But what happened? With the 50 kg, you only able to feed 75 people. Your distribution system is not efficient. It means, what is your input output ratio? 1:1.5. With 1 kg of the food, you only able to satisfy 1.5% instead of 2%. It means your distribution is not efficient. So here is a one learning for you. Getting the inputs at the cheaper rate is economic aspect. Performing the process right so that input output ratio gives the maximum yield is the efficiency. And attaining the objective, what is the designated, is effectiveness. I hope three things are clear to you. So effectiveness is spending wisely to attain objective. Whereas efficiency is spending well. Well means in the efficient manner, in the well manner, in the manner in which it should be. And economic means spend less. Or there is another way to see. Effectiveness related to output, whereas efficiency is a relation between input and output, means it is a process approach, whereas economy is related to input, means resources must be get at a cheaper rate. I hope the three things are clear to you. Please revise along with me. What is the effectiveness? Attaining the output designated. What is the efficiency? The processes must be performed in such a manner, input output yield must be maximum. What is the economy? Getting the input at the lowest possible price. Now understand two new E's. What are those? The first new E is equity. Here the equity doesn't mean the equity share capital wala equity. Here the equity means fairness. It means you must spend fairly. You should not lever one objective over the another objective of the not-for-profit organization. You must give the due objective or due weight, or you must prioritize and give more weight to that objective which is more important. And second thing, the ethics. You need to spend properly, because you are not spending your money, you are spending the money of the contributor. So you are under the fiduciary duty. You are spending someone else's money. So you need to be more focused while spending the money. Hence the ethics must be there. Okay, friends. Now I wish to discuss the 5 points with you. Input is related to whom? Economy. Process is related to whom? Efficiency. Output is related to whom? Effectiveness. Outcome related to whom? Outcome means what outcome will be there. It is related to the equity. You must try to attain all the outcome. Then impact. Then it is related to ethics. It means in order to obtain your impact, in order to reduce your cost, you should not give the food here to the people in the plastic disposal. You must give the food to the people in those disposal which are environment friendly. Okay, so what impacts you are making on the society, on the environment, that is to be considered. I hope this not-for-profit organization related theory is quite clear to you. Now quickly go through the notes so that we can move to the question. Okay, we'll read the theory, then we'll take a break, then we'll come back and we'll start solving the questions. Note number 12, which is given on the page number 8.34 to 8.37 of old study material and 8.46 to 8.51 of the revised study material. Firstly, what they gave the 4 characteristics to you, which is you already studied with me, that profit is not objective, but still require the fund. Wealth creation is not objective, cannot give the dividend. What is written in this paragraph? That despite they are not working for the profit, despite the objective is not to wealth create, but still they need to measure the performance. Why? So that they can ensure the contributor of the fund that they are really advancing the purpose for which the money is contributed. Okay. Then further on, the 4 difficulties which the not-for-profit organization face in order to measure the performance Obviously, if there are difficulties, then there may be some model. What model we'll use? Value for money model we will use, which basically comprises the 3E: economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. Effectiveness related to output, that your output must be equivalent to expected output or the standard output. Efficiency related to processes, input output ratio must be high. The economy related to inward or input resources, that must be cheaper possible. Okay, so the same thing which I already explained to you is discussed here. Now this is the last concept which we will study prior to go to the break. Okay, pay due attention here. Up till now it is not tested, and it may possible that you get the question on the balance scorecard and it is asked as a 3 marks or a 4 marks theory, that can balance scorecard be applied to the not-for-profit organization. So in order to prepare you for that question, read this along with me. In the year 2001, Mr. Kaplan, who gave the balance scorecard? Two gentlemen gave the balance scorecard. Mr. Kaplan and Mr. David Norton. In the year 2001, only Kaplan, this time Norton is not accompanied him. Only Kaplan wrote an article. What was the name of article? Strategic Performance Measurement and Management in the Not-for-Profit Organization. In the article, he mentioned that balance scorecard can be applied to the not-for-profit organization. He gave 3 examples of actual implementation. He simply mentioned that what we need to do, we need to change the mindset when we apply the balance scorecard to the not-for-profit organization. How the mindset will change? If we change the premise matlab central idea based upon which we are moving ahead. So if we change our premise, if we change our central idea, then obviously we can apply the balance scorecard. We can adapt the balance scorecard for not-for-profit organization. Because we can adapt it for the not-for-profit organization, hence he gave it name, adapted balance scorecard. He says by making the change of the central idea, balance scorecard can be applied to any sort of organization, hence he named it adapted balance scorecard. And what change he suggests? He says the assumption need to be changed, and the new assumption is what? New assumption is mission statement is the central point rather than the profit. When earlier we studied the balance scorecard, what we studied? That we need to attain the vision and we need to enhance the revenue. And outside that, we studied the 4 different perspectives: the perspective of shareholder, the perspective of customer, the perspective of internal processes, the perspective of learning and innovation. This is what we studied. So he said, rather than writing vision and revenue, what you need to write here? Mission of not-for-profit organization. And the perspective remains same, customer perspective. But this time, your customer are not those who will pay you money for buy the product to you. This time your customer are those to whom you need to serve without expectation of money. You need to create the value without seeking money back from them. So what are the parameters? What are the KPIs need to be associated with each of the perspective? Satisfaction of beneficiary. If the beneficiary say, okay, you help me to eat food, I am very much satisfied. It means purpose is resolved. Okay. Further, market growth. Although word market growth is written, but what does it here mean? Serve the larger portion of the market of the society. Don't read market from the financial aspect. Market means wider reach. Your NGO must have a wider reach. Okay. Other stakeholder interest. You only not serving your customer or serving the person who is a street with the hunger. You also need to care about the environment. So you are not using the plastic plates. You are using those plates which are made from the leaves, dry leaves, so that it can be disposed without a harm to the environment. Okay. Further, financial perspective. How the fund will be raised? either through subscription or through capital contribution in the form of the corpus, and the member will become the permanent member, or it is simply the donation or the simply the grant from government, that is need to be seen. Then the fund growth and the fund distribution. Fund distribution basically here means that on which of the objective, how much amount of the fund need to be deployed. Further, the internal process perspective. Internal efficiency need to be focused in order to enhance the input-output ratio. Volunteer development means developing the network so that you have a network of the volunteers so that you can attain the objective. Then information, communication, and the quality of the service which you are rendering. Last one, the innovation and the learning perspective. No doubt we are working for social benefit, not for the profit, but still if there is a new technique that is need to be opted so that more and more people need to reach to us. Likewise, launch some app. Whensoever you see some animal on the road which is not cared by anyone, so if there is some trust who is caring about the free animal and having the app, you can just go to that particular app and suggest them that I find one animal here whose health is not fine, and it's better that your team came and take the possession of this particular animal. And there are many groups who are doing it for the dogs and the cows and so many other animals as well. Okay, so this thing is simply there. Okay, now we'll go for a break. But if you allow me, can I complete this small topic? Then only the question will pending when we'll come back from the break. Okay. I hope you will bear with me for another 2-3 minutes. Then I'll give the break to you. Surely. Okay. Please read this thing. Performance report. What is basically performance report? Performance report is nothing but a statement which comprises the detail on the performance by each manager of responsibility center, so that the manager himself understands the deviation from the budget. And this report is a periodical report usually prepared in the organization, so that if he is allocated with the budget or responsibility for a longer period, like say year, and after every month or fortnight, he'll get a performance report. He'll know that he is deviating. He can amend his effort in order to attain the budgeted allocation, in order to not outrun the budgeted allocation, or in order to improve its performance to meet the target established for him. Agreed? This report is, friend, bottom-up report. It means it starts prepared by the junior staff, and then they keep on adding the information. Finally, it reach to the corporate level, and finally the corporate head know about all the divisions. Okay. So what is mentioned? No matter how much of the autonomy and authority is given to the responsibility managers, the performance report are much needed. Why needed? Because the autonomous division are also part of organization. If the individual division are not performing well, then obviously it harms us to attain the overall organization objective. Hence, the action of each division, despite it is autonomous or not, must be in alignment with the objective of the organization. Hence, performance report is very much essential in order to bring the alignment of interest despite of having the autonomy. Okay. Now, the last point. Friends, nowadays, there is a concept running into the market called integrated reporting. And the president of Indian Institute of Cost Accountant now become the president, not president, the member of this IFSC, which is nothing but the Federation of the Integrated Council. So this is a related news, although this is not making sense to you. Now coming back to the concept. What is integrated reporting, friends? Basically, apart from calculating the return, measuring the performance against the financial capital, you are also now trying to measure your performance against the human capital, against the social capital, against the environmental capital, against the technological capital. It means some organizations are not preparing only the performance report. They are preparing the performance report as part of the integrated report. where they try to evaluate or identify the different sort of the capitals, the social capital, the environment capital, the natural resources which they are having, and then try to compute their performance in relation or in you can say that against these capital as well. So in order to sum up the note number 30, performance report is a nothing but a statement which is periodically prepared inside the organization in order to update about the performance to the manager of responsibility center as well as the corporate head, so that alignment and correction can be introduced. Okay, friends. Friends, now when we'll come back from the break, we'll take up the question. We have a 3 question at least to solve, and we have a 1 hour. Obviously, we try to run bit fast in order to solve the question. Okay, so in the break, if you get a minute or two, please read this question. Although break is your designated, right? So right now it's 19.55, 7:55. We'll take break up till the 8 o'clock. Okay, we'll meet back at 8. Bye. So at sharp 8, please come back, everyone. And notice one thing, that this question was part of your RTP and also part of your MTP, and both for the November 2020. So this is, you can say that the best possible question of 5 marks in any of upcoming season or attempt of the examination. Okay. Now read the question along with me. Older Help India is a leading charity working with and for disadvantages elderly for over past 5 decades. So for last 50 years, older help organization helping to those elder people who are disadvantaged or who are not cared about. Further, older help advocate for their need for universal pension, quality healthcare, action against elder abuse, and many more. Older help collect the donation and funds and them utilize them for welfare of the elder. So what this trust do, or this not-for-profit organization do, they collect the donation and the fund and then utilize that fund for the welfare of the elder. The governing body of the older help has set up the 4 performance objective for the 3 months to 30th September 2020. 3 months till 30th September. It means starting from the 1st of July 2020, they need to run up till the 30th of September 2020. These are the 3 months they are talking about. To achieve the level of donation 30 lakh, this is the first objective. To keep the advertisement cost not more than 3%, then to keep the welfare cost more than 80% of donation. Please mind it, advertisement cost shall not be more than 3%. So there is upper cap. It can be less than or equal to 3%. But in case of the welfare expenditure, it must be more than 85%, and both are of the donation which you receive. Okay. To achieve the 90% of respite care requested from the community. Now moving further, actual results are as follows. So they gave you the amount of the donation which you receive in each of the month. You can simply add it up and identify that how much of the donation you get. You get here 31 lakh against the target of the 30 lakh. Hence, you achieve the target 1. Further on, the advertisement cost for all the 3 months are given to you. Then the elder welfare cost for all the 3 months are given to you. Respite care requests are given to you, and care provided also given to you in term of days in both the cases. Agreed? Now moving further. The aim is to serve the elder need in the holistic manner, enabling them to live the active, dignified, and healthier life. You are required to prepare the statement to assist the manager in evaluation the performance against each objective and comment upon the performance. Let's solve the question. So this much of the data is given to you in the question itself. These are nothing but the 4 objectives which need to be fulfilled. What I did, I write down the objective in the red color bold. What is the first target for me? That I need to receive the donation of 30 lakh. The second target to me, that advertisement cost shall not be more than 3% of donation received. Then the elder welfare cost must be more than 85% of donation received, and respite care ratio must be 90% or more than that. Okay. Now, friends, I'm waiting for your response. Those who are online, you need to tell me that in the 3 months, July plus August plus September, how much of the donation in totality they receive? The 7 lakh plus 13 lakh plus 11 lakh. How much of the donation they receive? Quickly answer me. I'm waiting for the response. Quickly answer, how much of the donation older help received during the 3 months, July, August, and September? Okay, good. Thirty-one lakh, 31 lakh. Good, Chavi. Good, Muthulakshmi. Good. In the meantime, rest of my friend will answer. Yes, the answer given by the few student up till now is absolutely correct. That is 31 lakh. And how much is the target? 30 lakh. Whether the target is achieved or not. Yes, the target is achieved. So what you will say, against the target of 30 lakh, the older help attained or received the donation of 31 lakh. Hence, the target is achieved. Although there is no month-wise target is given to you. That's why we measure the target against the consolidated amount. If the month-wise target given to you, obviously, then you need to do the month-wise comparison. Okay. Now, moving further, advertisement cost. You incur the advertisement of 17,500 against the donation of 7 lakh in the month of the July. So can you tell me the percentage which you incur? 17,500 divided by 7 lakh rupee, because we need to compute it in the percentage. So multiply with the 100. Please tell me how much percentage of the advertisement cost you incur. Quickly compute it. Anjali, please compute the amount again. It's 31 lakh, not 34 lakh. Friends, quickly compute what is the advertisement cost in case of the July, and also compute for the month of August and the September. Quickly. Okay, what I'll do, for July you compute, and for the August and September I will compute. The 52 lakh of the 13 lakh, it will be 4%. Then 33,000 against 11 lakh, it will be 3%. 2.5, fine. Chavi, absolutely correct. Raman, correct. Anjali, you need to check your answer once again. How it is 0.1. Rajay, you are regular student and always answer right. But this time your answer is not correct. Please check your answer once again. 17,000 of 7 lakh. It is 2.5%. Okay. Now quickly see along with me. What is the maximum cap? The maximum cap is 3%. Here you incur 2.4 or 2.5. So you attain the target. You didn't miss the performance indicator. Here you incur 4%. So you miss the performance indicator. Because the upper cap is 3%, but you incur 4%. Here the cap is 3% and you also incur the 3%. So you meet the cap. I hope it is clear to you. Jayashri, good. Good. Absolutely fine. Raman, even though answer for the other two, Muthu Lakshmi also answer for the other two. Absolutely, friend. You are correct. Fine. Okay. Now moving to the third objective. Elder welfare cost. How much of the cost you incur in the month of the July? In the month of the July, how much you need to incur? More than 85%. How much you incur here? 5,74,000. 5,74,000 against the donation of. Please read this line very carefully. To keep welfare cost more than 85% of donation. So compute how much percentage of donation incurred as welfare cost in the month of July. Because we need to compute in a percentage, so multiply with 100. No issue, Rajay. Okay. If you correct it, fine. Thank you. Okay, now compute quickly the welfare cost as a percentage of the donation. I'll compute for the remaining 2 months. You will compute for July quickly. Yes, 82%. Fine. Raman, correct. Anjali, correct this time. Chavi, correct. Even though you answer for all, even though you mention as well that whether the target is met or not. Muthulakshmi, correct. Fine. So here it is 82. Friend, now see, what is the target? 85. Whether you achieve the target here? No. Whether you achieve the target here? No. Whether you achieve the target here? Yes. But one thing you need to write, that older help is improving on this criteria and objective, because there is upward movement. They are improving. They are expanding now required percentage. Agreed? So this thing need to be mentioned, that despite the fact in the 2 months they didn't meet the target, but their performance shows improvement, that they will meet the target in the future period to come as well, because it is trend upward. I hope you are agree with the point put as well. Okay. Yes. Good, Jayashri. Now moving to the last one. You need to tell me the percentage of respite care provided against the respite care requested. Against the request of 1120. It is the 896 day when the care provided. You need to compute it in the percentage. So that's why I multiplied with the 100. I'll compute for the August and September. You need to compute it for the July. For the August, this figure is 87.98. And for the September, this figure is 92. You need to compute it for the month of July quickly. Anjali, 80%. Yes, absolutely fine. Good. In the meantime, my rest of the friend will answer to this. We'll do the evaluation. Okay. So friends, see here that it shall be 90%, but here it is 80%. So you miss the target. Here again, you miss the target. Here you meet the target. So what you need to say, in the month of September, all the 3 target, be it advertisement cost, be it welfare cost, be it the respite care provided against the request, met. Whereas in the month of the August, none of the target met. You can say here it is cross, here it is cross, here it is again cross. And in the month of the July, only 1 target regarding the advertisement cost met, but whereas the remaining 2 target didn't met. So the performance of the September is acceptable. Okay. I hope you agree with the conclusion that what you need to provide. Now, one argument can be done here. So why we are not seeing the performance of 3 months collectively? Yes, this can be done, that the performance of 3 months collectively can be seen. But then the purpose of question may defeat, because the question comprises a monthly detail. If we don't consider these monthly detail and we simply see, okay, the advertisement for the 3 months together incurred is 1,02,500 against the 3% which is need to be spent. So 3% of 31 lakh which is need to be spent is 91 lakh, and we spend 1,02,500, hence we not meet the target. Then this will not right. Why this will not right? Because he gave you data monthly, and if you are not using it monthly basis, then what is the purpose of giving the data in the question? Okay, so don't presume or don't take this perception in mind that we can solve it on a consolidated basis. Know that it can be, but there is no clear hint in the question that we can go in that way. Okay. Now, moving back to the notes. Friend, there is one question for you as a homework, which I mentioned here. Okay. This is also mentioned in the sheet here as well, that this question is your homework question. Now we are moving to the remaining two questions. Okay. Yes, good. Now, this is the case study which tested in the November 2020 attempt for the 20 marks. Okay. Prior to that, in the November 2018, it was given in the RTP. In the May 2019, it was given in the RTP, and it was exactly asked in the examination. Only the name of the town changed from the Silver Sand to the Agra, and the name of the monument is also changed. Now here the monument which is mentioned, that is the Taj Mahal, and in the RTP it was something else. Okay, so now we are going to read this particular question so that we can answer the case. So read very carefully with me. The moment we'll complete this answer, what I'll do, I'll discuss with you some of the common error. Okay, we have a less time, so I'll not spend more than 2 minutes on this. But I also wish to give the hint to you that how you need to capture the case-based question so that you can answer it correct. Okay, if the time is not there now, then I'll ask you to click a picture of this and read it so that you can get the conclusion out of it. Because when we develop a case, we consider these terms very critically. I will try to explain this with the help of the case which we are going to study. Okay, now read it along with me carefully. The world famed Taj Mahal is situated on the bank of the Yamuna River. It is situated on the southern bank of Yamuna River. It was started commissioning in the year 1632 and completed in the year 1648. It was commissioned by this Shah Jahan in the fond memory of Mumtaz Mahal. These are the basic information that you must know. Okay, but somehow some of the thing is written in the question, so we'll move forward along with the fact written in the question. So world famed Taj Mahal is situated on the bank of the Yamuna River in the city of Agra, Uttar Pradesh. Known for its beautiful design and counted one of the 7 wonders of the world. The city attracts a lot of the tourists from all around the world. The tourism is one of the main source of the livelihood of its resident. Consequently, cleanliness and maintenance of the garden area within the Taj Mahal campus is of the prime importance in order to sustain and develop this industry. So in the first paragraph of the case, they simply did nothing but they gave you the background which you need to study. Okay, just give me a minute so that I can discuss this thing with you, because it's relevant. Only then it benefits us to read this particular case, because I usually see that there is a problem when the student answer the cases in the examination. So when we develop the case, then we keep these things in our mind that student will respond according to the term asked in the case. Likewise, the case which we are studying, there some verb are used. The verb like you need to recommend, you need to identify, you need to provide some guidelines. Okay. Now let me tell you the 5 common mistakes which is usually committed. Failing to provide what the question verb require. Friend, if you see the board of study portal, therein in the paper number 5, a document is there on the very top. No doubt now after the revised study material hosted on the website, the first thing in the paper number 5 is the revised study material. Just down under that, you'll find the document of the skill assessment. which says that the skill of the student can be tested at the 5 levels. What are those 5 levels? Whether he knows the thing or not, whether he has a comprehensive knowledge, detailed knowledge on the thing or not, whether he can apply the concept which he learned, whether he can prepare the balance scorecard for some company, or he only know that balance scorecard has a full perspective. Okay, then whether he can analyze after computing the ROI or RI. If you can't analyze the same, then it is of no use. Whether he can do the evaluation of different circumstances, whether he can evaluate the performance of the company based upon some performance measure or not. Okay, so under each of the learning objective, there are certain verbs. The top verb is recommend. Here you come into the role of the board of director, where you recommend that what is need to be done. So this is most advanced verb. And what is the most basic verb to you? The basic verb that you need to list the various factors, you need to define any term, you need to state the fact written in the question. So you can see the different verb, and each verb has a separate meaning. When the word analyze is written, then what you need to do? You need to do the detailed explanation. But when the word advice is written there, then what you need to do? You need to give various alternate. So advise and analyze don't have a same meaning. This is what you need to understand. Okay. So the first mistake which the student commit, they read the question. Okay, we need to analyze and evaluate, but they don't differentiate between the analyze and evaluate. They just start writing the fact given in the question and start solving the numerical which can be solved based upon the question given in the question. Okay. Further, starting with or stating the theory or the concept rather than applying them. For example, if this is asked to you that whether the PDCA cycle is helpful in the benchmarking or not, rather than saying it is helpful in order to consolidate and bringing the part of change as your standardized operating procedure, which make the benchmarking successful, you start writing what is the PDCA cycle, who gave the PDCA cycle, what is the full form of PDCA cycle, how it can be applied. You draw the PDCA cycle, and then you feel that I write everything about the PDCA cycle, I must get the marks. No, then there is some sort of problem. Okay. Further, quoting the chunks of detail from the question itself, which don't add value. This thing many a time happen that in order to start the answer, student copy one paragraph from the question itself, especially in the case-based question. Like what paragraph we are studying, that is the background paragraph. It will help you to start answering, but you should not write it exactly the same. You need to refine it according to the question, according to the need of the question. Okay. The fourth mistake, repeating the same material in the different part of the question or different part of the answer. And the last one, forcing the irrelevance aspect to the answer. For example, irrelevant definition or the theories or example that don't add much value, or going into the long list of the writing down the all thing which he know about the broad subject area. For example, he asked you the performance evaluation in case of not-for-profit organization. You know less about the not-for-profit organization. So you start explaining what is the performance evaluation. This is the mistake usually found. Okay. So institute test you only the 5 level of the Bloom taxonomy. They wish to test whether you can remember the thing, whether you can understand the thing, whether you can apply the knowledge, whether you can analyze the given fact, whether you can evaluate or not. They don't wish to check right now whether you can create a new solution, you can make new model, you can do synthesis of the information or not. So the knowledge testing here is only up till the 5 level. But what I advise to you, spare the 5 or 10 minutes, because you know the answer, you have a knowledge. But if you can't translate that knowledge to the paper in the 3 hours, now that's not making utility of your knowledge. So despite knowing the concept, you must know how to present that concept. So spend 5 minutes, download this thing. I gave the link here. If you click, obviously you'll get the link as well. Otherwise, it is given in the board of study under the paper number 5 in the BOS portal. So go to this particular page and read what basically each word means. If the word recommend is written in the question, what you need to do? You need to identify and explain the reasonable option. If the word evaluate is written, then what you need to do? Agreed. Now, how you need to tackle the case-based question? This technique we apply in the question which we are going to study. Read the background like we are doing, the first 1 or 2 paragraphs. This will give you nothing but the hint of the question. That question is related to which aspect, what concept you need to apply. Then further, read the requirement. Because if you read the entire case study, then read the requirement, then you need to study the case again in order to find the good points. But if you read the requirement earlier than reading the case, then it will help you in 2 ways. One, you independently identify that which of the model can be applied, but you shall not finalize the model yet. Then you read the fact of the case. Because you already studied the requirement, now you can start highlighting the point which are important for you, which you need to fetch out of the question while drafting your answer. Okay, so it helps you in a 2 way. Further, identify the action verb, because according to the action verb, you need to develop the plan to answer the question. Identify what each part of the question requires, because you need to distinct the different parts. And if the part is not clear, then you need to develop the framework which can be applied, which theory, which model can be applied. Okay. Further, check the marks allocated to each of the part, because you need to spend the time accordingly. You have a limited time. Further, read the whole scenario throughout and highlight the important key data. You must underline or simply like put a mark against the line. Obviously, you can't write much on a question paper. Just put a mark. Otherwise, if numerical are there, then make a rough work area where you can note down or jot down the important point. You can make a list of the important point. Okay. Further, do the calculation if the case involves certain numerical element. Okay. Then further, consider the consequences of the point you identified. Because prior to mentioning the point, are they are in the contradiction? Likewise, in the point A, you mention one thing, in the point B of the same question, you contradict yourself. So you need to overcome that. Further, make a brief plan in the back of mind and then finally start answering. No doubt, I know that this is quite difficult, and in examination condition, this cannot be practiced. So that's why I said to you now that what 27 questions are there of a chapter 8. Practice it right now. In the class, I solved around 23 questions along with you. Only 4 questions are given to you as a homework. So if you practice this 27 question again, then I believe that half of your work is done. Then in examination, you will not find much different question, maybe bit up and down, not much different question. Then it will make your task easy. You must apply this technique to some of the question while solving the question here. Then obviously it will become part of your habit that you will start solving question in this manner. Okay. Now let me take you to the case, because we are having limited time, but you can say that right. It's very important to discuss with you. In the February Student Journal of 2021, you may find some of the cases on this paper number 5 in order to practice for the May attempt. So do practice that. In that it will be attempt that the similar thing can be taught to you with through help of those cases. Okay. Now moving further, many of you might forget this first paragraph, so I must give a brief of this to you. What we studied, that Taj Mahal is one of the 7 wonders. It is situated in the Agra, and tourists come to Agra in order to see the Taj Mahal, and tourism is the major source of the livelihood for the local resident. Because tourism is a livelihood source of the local resident, hence it's become the duty of the government to ensure the livelihood must go on. So that's why the cleanliness and maintenance of the garden area of the Taj Mahal campus become a matter of prime importance. Okay, this is what we studied. Now we had a background. Now what we need to do, we need to go to the requirement of the question in order to understand it. Okay, what first thing you need to do? Recommend the guideline to assess the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness of the Taj Mahal and campus cleaning operation. Because the first paragraph itself said to you or mentioned to you that the concern is regarding the cleanliness of the campus. Obviously, for cleaning the campus, you give the tender to some person to clean the campus. Then you need to ensure whether this tender is given at the lowest possible price in order to check the economy. Then you need to see the type of the cleanliness we wish to have, whether we are attaining that cleanliness or not. This is nothing but the effectiveness, means comparing the outcome with the desired outcome. Okay. Then we also need to see the input output ratio, means the resources which we are employed in order to clean the campus. Are they sufficient to do the amount of cleaning? Are we overemployed the resources or underemployed the resources? So this need to be understood. Okay. Further, identifying the challenges involved in the assessment of effectiveness. Effectiveness is nothing but the test of the actual outcome against the desired outcome. And outcome, if not quantifiable, qualitative, then it becomes subjective. For example, cleanliness is a subjective issue, that to which you say clean. For example, for me, a garden which has a dry leaf is also clean. It's not bad, but it must not have a litter. It must not have a dust. It must not have a, you can say that the dropping of the birds on the benches. But if there are dry leaf, obviously, if there is a garden, then there will be tea and the leaf will fallen from the tea. So it's a highly subjective issue. Okay. Further, the third point, recommend the journal guidelines, how the audit team may conclude the audit based upon the combined outcome of the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. This audit is called a proprietary audit, wherein what we try to do, we need to check whether the transaction has been taken place economically, effectively, at effectiveness or not. So it might possible that of the cleaning operation, the audit executed or audit conducted, and the audit team need to give the conclusion. So they ask you that how conclusion can be given. Don't worry, I'll teach you a model here which can be universally applied to all not-for-profit sector organization where the conclusion of the audit need to be taken or observed. Okay. So now coming back to the fact of the question, read the fact. Okay. The local government has recently employed a contractor to clean and maintain the garden area within the Taj Mahal campus. Obviously, they need to clean the garden area. Na? The first thing which they did is what? That they employed a contractor. The contractor uses the cleaning machine pulled by the horses to avoid pollution. So it's a environment friendly. Fifth E, which we studied, that it was ethics. The impact must be positive. So environment impact is a positive of the manner or the procedure which we used in order to do the cleaning. Further, the contractor has been selected through an online competitive tendering. This is a very good signal to you that we are economic. Why we are economic? Because we not simply hire any person. We did or we hire the person through the process of reverse bidding or the tendering. It means the person who quoted the lowest price to clean the campus, we hired that person. Okay. Further, majority of litter. Litter basically means the garbage. It is not the, you can say that day-to-day garbage which we generate in our home. It's like the garbage in the form of the empty tins of the cold drink, the plastic bag, the bottles of water, etc., and some of the else aspect. Okay, so litter basically means nothing but the kura content. Okay, further, comprises of the plastic waste bag, bottles, while some portion include the glasses, aluminium cans, paper, and cardboard, etc. as well. So they themselves explain what is the litter. Further, a detailed log is held by the contractor about the waste that has been cleaned. It means after every day when he cleaned the campus, whatsoever be the quantity of each sort of litter he collected, he maintain a record of that how much waste water he collected, how much polythene bag he collected, how much glasses, disposal glasses he collected, how much aluminum can of the cold drink he collected. So he maintain a log of that. So we can identify that, okay, majority of waste of this thing. So this is our priority. This thing need to be cleaned first. So this thing is our priority, and we can use this measure in order to reduce the amount of the litter. Moving further, the time taken for the cleanup, the number of horses used. Again, important data. How much time is spent? How much horses is applied? It means how much resources are applied. Input कितना हुआ output के लिए. So these are nothing but the signal of what? Signal of efficiency. These are indicator of efficiency. If you are using less number of horses to clean the entire campus, if you are spending less time to clean the campus, obviously you are efficient. But if you are taking more time, if you are using more horses, you are not efficient because your input output ratio is not good. Okay, I hope you are start getting some of the things. Further, this log is also checked and signed by the local government officials. It means it's authenticated, it's reliable. Further, this record is used to process the payment at the end of the month. Obviously, there must be some payment plan, and the payment is done after seeing the logbooks. Further, in addition to contracting, the local government has also placed the bin at the various locations within the campus. So this is the second method they applied. So one more thing can be done. We can see the effectiveness of different method, whether the method 1 is effective, whether method 2 is effective, and it may be possible that we may see the further method. So we need to tell that which of the method is the most useful, and then we'll keep on applying that method and ignore the remaining method. Or we can say less rely upon the remaining method, and most effective method will be relied more. Further, within the campus, for the public to dispose their waste, the Nagar Nigam worker clean these. Nagar Nigam means municipal corporation person. For those my friend who don't understand Hindi, okay. So Nagar Nigam is nothing but the municipal corporation of the city. So Nagar Nigam worker clean these bin every morning. Again, the detailed log of the manpower and other resources employed are kept by the respective department. It means they are also maintaining the record of the input. Again, the efficiency can be measured using this log, how much of the input has been done in order to clean the campus. Okay. Furthermore, in addition, the government also started the mobile messaging system, third way out, whereby the public can message the concerned department if they find the litter anywhere in the campus, depending upon whether it is the form and the overflowing bin or the scattered waste. The Nagar Nigam worker will take action and clean it within the 12 hours, and the detailed log of this operation also maintained. It means again you are having the data that how much number of messages you get, out of which how much number of the cases you respond within the 12 hours, how much number of the cases you respond beyond the 12 hours. I hope you got the point here that there is a huge hints given in the question in order to measure the efficiency and effectiveness and the economy. Furthermore, the pattern can also suggest the measure for improving the cleanliness. It means what they did, that they appoint certain pattern. Pattern are nothing but a kind of supervisor. This you can see. Who is responsible for the garden? Who will overlook the cleanliness drive? So what they can do, the pattern can also suggest the measure for improving the cleanliness of the above mentioned area. Further, due to its importance to the economy of local resident, because they are earning their livelihood from this particular Taj Mahal only, the people who come to visit Taj Mahal, the local government has allotted substantial budget for these operations. It means the local government spend huge money. From where the local government get the money? Either the allocation from the state government or collection of the local taxes. So they are spending the public money. Obviously, they are not spending their own money. So there is a fiduciary responsibility. What fiduciary responsibility? That they must generate utility out of the money they spend. And what we mentioned, that utility is difficult to quantify. Hence, we use value for money tool. And value of money tool is nothing but to ensure there must be economy, there must be efficiency, and there must be effectiveness. So we need to ensure these three things. Okay, friend, now read the next paragraph aloud. At the same time, it is essential to know if this sufficient for the purpose of maintaining the cleanliness of the campus. And they are not only allocated the amount and leave it, they're willing to spend more if the amount still spent is not sufficient. But therefore, government want to assess whether the city is getting good value of money or not for the expenditure they are incurring. The value of money concept can be looked at the three perspectives: economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. See how examiner good is. He is giving you the hint that if you are not getting after reading the case what you need to do, he is giving you the hint that value of money concept need to be applied, and value of money concept include three things: economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. Okay, moving further. The internal audit department that has been requested to undertake this study has requested for the guidelines on whether the audit should be focused on the economy or efficiency of Taj Mahal campus cleaning operation or on the effectiveness. What sort of audit team it is? They are asking from you that do we need to focus on economy and efficiency, or we need to focus on effectiveness? Obviously, you need to focus on both. We need economy and efficiency as well as we need the effectiveness. So we will tell them that no, we will not likewise compromise and say, okay, ensure economy and efficiency, ignore effect. No, effectiveness is equally required. And don't will say, okay, ensure effectiveness and ignore these two. No, we need all three. Only then we'll say that there is value generated out of money spent. Okay, moving further. This is basically asked in the part number 3, because in the part number 3, he asked you to provide the guidelines to the audit team regarding this, how the decision need to be taken, which thing need to be given more importance. You need to give more importance to this, or you need to give more importance to this, how much you give the importance to this. So this is asked in the part 3. Okay, don't worry, we'll see while answering the question. Moving further right now. The economy and efficiency audit assess whether the same level of services can be procured at the lower cost and resources, while effectiveness audit assess whether the better services can be procured at the same cost or not. So he tried to explain the meaning of the efficiency and economy and effectiveness for you, but you already know the meaning. Moving further, depending on the outcome of the audit, if required, the policy decision like requesting for additional funding from the state government, alternate policy measure like levying the penalty for littering can be taken. What they are simply saying, that if we come to know that we are not effective yet, we need to spend more money, then we'll ask more money from the state government. Means Agra City Municipal Corporation ask more money from the UP government. Or what they will start doing, they will start imposing the penalty upon the people who will identify while doing the littering. Whosoever throwing the paper, whosoever throwing the empty cup, he'll be charged with the penalty. So they say that these two can be done, but obviously these two can be done only based upon the outcome of the audit. So you need to answer the point number 3. Okay. Now we are in position where we can answer the question. Here it is. So the picture in front of you, I hope you are very well versed with this. This picture is of the Taj Mahal, and you can see the two symmetric garden in front of the Taj Mahal on both sides where people used to move. They're talking about these gardens only. But there is a problem that the people throw the litter boxes or the dustbins are outflowing, and despite they contract with some person to clean, there are some problems are still ongoing, and then they ask you to do what assessment of the economy, then effectiveness, then this efficiency. Okay, so the first requirement of the question, again we read it and then we'll start solving it. Recommend the guideline. Guideline mean way, process, the manner, the aspects. Recommend the manner, processes, way, aspect to assess the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness of the cleaning drive. So, what basically economy and efficiency audit mean? It simply means how much of the resources you are consuming in order to generate the output. If you are consuming less resources or resources at a less price, you are economic and efficient, otherwise not. And the effectiveness audit basically means nothing but measuring the output which actually there against the desired level of output. If both are similar, then you are effective, otherwise you are not. Now, in order to see whether economy is there or not, what you need to do? You need to bifurcate the total expenditure into the different effort. There are three efforts. What are those? Amount paid to the contractor, then amount spent in form of installing and emptying the bins, and then the mobile messaging service. So you need to identify that how much of the amount you incur on the first alternate, second alternate, and third alternate. This is the first step. Second step is what? Subcategorize the expenditure. Obviously, under the first, where you need to make the payment to the contractor, you make certain payment for the labor of men and the horses, for the material he used, like he used some of the bags wherein he put all the litter in order to take it away. So the cost of the disposal van, obviously when municipal corporation people come to pick the garbage in the bin or to empty the bin, then obviously they'll come with some disposal van. The cost of that is need to be done. And what is the last step? The last step is you need to compare the expenditure under each cost head to the budgeted allocation for that head. If your expenditure are less than the budgeted expenditure, because it's mentioned in the question that budget is allocated by the Agra Municipal Corporation. Obviously, prior to allocating the budget, they ask your estimation. So some estimation has been given by the patron. So patron what need to do? He need to compare the actual expenditure incur against the budgeted expenditure. And not only this, he also need to ensure when the contractor hire, whether the bid is or the tender is issued in the name of the person, in favor of the person who quoted the less value. When the dustbin purchased, whether it's purchased through the cost competitive manner or not. Agreed? I hope you get the viewpoint that how the economy can be measured in this particular case. Further, how the efficiency will be measured. In order to measure the efficiency, what is need to be done? It can be determined by checking the resource utilization, and from where the resource utilization can be seen from the log book. That how much number of the horses are used, how much number of the men are used. Then further one thing can be done. What is that thing? That the cost per unit can be identified. What does it mean cost per unit? The cleaning cost per square meter of garden. The cleaning cost or emptying cost per bin, that is need to be identified. And then it need to be compared over the period. If the cost of cleaning per meter is declining, if the cost of cleaning per bin is declining, it means we are moving towards the efficiency. But if the cost of emptying per bin by the municipal corporation is increasing, so we are moving away from the efficiency. Agreed? I hope the thing is clear. If earlier we used only the 2-horse machine to clean entire campus, but now we are using the 3, it means we are not efficient. But obviously, efficiency is not a subject of isolation. It need to seen in context of the target. If the litter is more now, then obviously in order to clean that, we need to apply more resources. So whenever we need to see efficiency in terms of input-output ratio, you always need to see from the prospect likewise per unit, because per unit rate need to be reduced. Obviously, if overall expenditure increase considering the subjective aspect, then nothing can be done. Further, the last aspect which is related to the effectiveness. How the effectiveness can be tested? In order to check the effectiveness, whether the campus is clean or not, the first thing which you need to mention or you need to know is what? You need to define what constitutes the litter. Basically, what comes under the kura karkat? Kura karkat hai kya? What is the waste? What is the you can say that garbage, and you need to explain this thing. Because for one person, the fallen dry leaves may be garbage. For another person, it may not be garbage. And even after cleaning the campus, it may possible while the person is cleaning, contractor is cleaning the campus or the garden of the campus, then some of the leaves fall behind him, whether it is tolerated or not. So you only need not to tell what is the liter, you also need to tell what is the tolerance level. Because when we say now that we need to measure the objective attained, outcome obtained against the budgeted outcome or against the expected outcome, then objective always has percentage of the confidence, that how much of the percentage confidence level we need to maintain, means how much of the leeway percentage, the scope of error we are leaving. Are we saying, okay, if some of the leaves left behind, we'll consider it clean or not? Okay. So you need to explain what constitutes the litter. Apart from that, you also need to tell what is the tolerance level of litter. And one more thing, the tolerance level of all sort of garbage is not same. Because if there is aluminum can or glass, it is harmful. It seems bad rather than few dry leaves. So tolerance level for each category of litter need to be clearly explained. So this is the first step. And after you explain the limit, what is next need to be done? You need to establish the outcome from the perspective of safety measure. Like glass pieces are hazardous. It may cause some sort of physical damage. So glass pieces are need to be removed till 0 level. There is no tolerance level. So you need to see the other aspect of the outcome as well. Now the third step which you need to do, what you need to do? You need to start collecting the information for doing these two aspects. Basically, in order to quantify the tolerance level, you need to have information or need to have a data. And from where you will get the data? From the two sources. Number one, from the logbook, and the second thing, from where you get the data? From the pattern. And obviously, in order to ensure whether the cleanliness is there or not, what can be done? The observation in form of surprise visit can be made. Agreed? In order to check whether the effectiveness is there or not, certain KPI need to be established, key performance indicator. What sort of the measure or the key performance indicator can be there? Number of complaints received, number of mobile messaging received. Because when we get the mobile message, when any bin is flowing outward. And why bin is flowing outward? If we already appoint Nagar Nigam or municipal corporation people to clean the bin, it means the mobile message is an indicator that municipal corporation people are not working fine. So these can be seen as an indicator of the effectiveness. So I hope you get much knowledge now how the three factor can be tested or evaluated based upon the fact given in the question. Okay. Now we will study the second requirement, identifying the challenges involved in the assessment of the effectiveness. What you need to do? You need to tell what challenges one will face in order to assess the effectiveness. As already mentioned, that effectiveness is a very subjective issue. So there are a few major problems. What are those problems? Defining what constitutes litter. Because for our perspective of this pattern, it may contribute as a waste, but from the perspective of the contractor to whom you hire to clean the campus, it not amounts to garbage. So there is a dispute on the part of the objectivity. So you need to explain it further. Establishing the tolerance level, as we already discussed. Then the frequency of cleaning. What will be the frequency of cleaning? How many number of time that contractor in a day clean, and when to measure the effectiveness. Obviously, the effectiveness of the cleanliness just after he cleaned the campus is high in the morning. When the people start coming and throwing the things here and there, the effectiveness may reduce of the cleanliness. So when the inspection need to be conducted, when the pattern will see whether the contractor done the work carefully or not. Okay, so the timing need to be identified, whether he'll see 9 a.m. in the morning, whether the campus is clean, or 6 a.m. in the morning. Obviously, if he conducts the cleanliness, the contractor, at 8:30, the cleanliness will be high at 9, it will be low at 6. So these are the issues which may be there in order to assess the effectiveness. Further, the certain form of litter out of the operational control. Likewise, what the bird dropping or animal dropping. That cannot be controlled despite you have a best of the system because it's unpredictable thing. Further, indicator of the effectiveness. Not throwing the little here and there is a matter of the social understanding. If the people start aware about their responsibility, obviously they throw the things only in the dustbin, in the little box. This will result in what? Less collection of the garbage by the contractor. So amount of garbage collected by the contractor cannot be indicator of his effectiveness. It may be possible that people become educated and they are not throwing the garbage, hence contractor not able to correct much of the garbage, and we say you are not cleaning the campus in a sensible manner. You are nowadays getting less garbage. It's not his fault. People become educated, so they are not throwing. So from where the contractor will get? Okay, so this issue is also there. Now, last point. Recommend the journal guidelines. How audit team may conclude the audit based upon the 3 things. Means how they will say whether it's effective, efficient, or economy. With which thing they need to start. Now I am going to tell you the golden rule. This can be applied not only to this case, this can be applied to every case where there is a testing of value for money. Friends, you always need to start with the effectiveness. Why with the effectiveness? Because objective need to be attained. What makes the not-for-profit organization different from for-profit organization? The purpose of existence is not to earn the profit. The purpose of existence is to attain the objective. So attainment of objective is important. Hence, we will start with the effectiveness. Okay, I hope this point is clear to you. So what question you will ask? Has the objective attained? Or you can simply say whether the outcome is as per policy or guidelines or not. Obviously, when you took the decision that garden need to be maintained and cleaned, you make some policy, you roll out some policy. In the policy, you establish the target of cleaning the garden. Whether you able to attain that target or not. This is simply question. There may be 2 answers. What are the possible 2 answers? All my wise friend can answer this. What a wise man answer to this? Obviously, the answer will be either yes or no. Agreed? Now, if the answer is yes, you need to ask another question. What is the question? Is the expenditure within the budgeted limit? Means we basically wish to check here, are we economic and efficient? Obviously, answer will come either yes or no. If the answer come, what you will say? Success. Objective attained, organization is generating value for money. But if the answer come no, we need to ask another question. Is the excess expenditure is justified? If the excess expenditure is justified, in order to meet the objective. Because it may possible, it's a rushy season, it's a summer break, everyone is visiting Taj Mahal, there is a huge amount of litter, hence we need to spend more money than budgeted allocation. It is due to the environment, it is due to the external factor which is beyond the control. Hence, additional expenditure is justified in order to meet the objective. Then what we'll say? Again, success means we are generating value for money. But if the excess amount is not justified, you are incurred the amount without any purpose, without any reason, then what you will need to say? You will need to look for cost reduction or management in the upcoming periods. It means you need to identify economical way to manage the business. Okay. Now, if the answer to the earlier question, what was the earlier question? Whether we met the objective or not, come no. Then what is need to be done? We need to ask the question, what is margin of failure? Okay, we don't meet the target, but what is the margin of failure? Are we able to attain, like say 80% or plus, 90% or plus, or we miss the target, or we miss the target by huge margin? This can be two outcomes. If you meet the outcome or objective by 80%, then you need to go here. Ask the same question. Because it may possible that in a one period, due to the subjective aspect, you're not able to attain the objective in the full. But still, you are something near to the perfection. You are able to meet the, you can say that objective. If you ask this question, it may possible the answer comes that you spend less than the budgeted. That's why you fail to meet the objective. So what you will do from the next time, you start incur the total amount which is budgeted for you or which is allocated to you. Okay. But if you miss the target by the huge margin, then what is need to be done? Then simply it means there is policy failure. If there is a policy failure, then what is need to be done? You need to change the policy. What change is required? Either you need to start apply the fine, because it was mentioned in the question. I can show it to you. You can see here, depending upon the outcome, the policy decision can be taken. Maybe you ask for the additional money from the government, or you start charging the penalty. So you need to write it. Because you are not able to meet the current policy principle, you need to change your principle a bit, because you are missing the target by a huge margin. So you may ask for the additional money, that we need additional fund in order to meet the target. This may be one of the way. What is another way? That you will say that we will charge the fine. I hope this matrix is clear to you. Now revise the matrix along with me, that how the flow chart need to be prepared. Firstly, ask, are you effective or not? If the answer comes yes, are you within the budget or not? If yes, success. But if answer to second question, are you within budget, is no, then you need to see whether the excess expenditure is justified. If justified, then success, value for money. If excess expenditure is not justified, look for the economical way. But if the answer to a reasonable question is no, then you need to ask, by which margin you missed the target. If you miss the target by narrow margin, 5%, 10%, then you need to check whether you are within the budget or not. But if you miss the target by huge money, it means entire policy scrapped. Then you need to go for another policy, because you are not meeting the objective. The basic purpose of existence of not-for-profit organization fails. You need to change your strategy. Okay, I hope this thing is clear to you. So there is a closing remark in this question. What is the closing remark? The achievement of one objective does not automatically leads to achievement of other. Means it may possible that you are effective, but you may not economic and efficient. Okay, so holistic approach would need to be drawn in an integrated conclusion using the above flowchart which I just discussed with you. And one more thing, that alternate answer obviously possible to this particular question. Okay, friends. So I hope this question is clear to you. It's already 9:08, but I need support from you for another 15 minutes. I hope my friend will allow me to spend another 15 minutes because I wish to discuss this question with you. Okay, because this question has not been asked so far. Earlier, it was given as an additional question. Now, it is a part of the study material. Let me quickly discuss with you because this is the last lecture for the chapter number 8. We'll not get an opportunity to meet again. So, give me another 15 minutes. I'll read the question for you, explain the requirement for you, and obviously, we'll try to decode the question. Okay? Read the question quickly along with me. West Coast Community operates Homelessness Service, HS, on a not-for-profit basis as a local solution to the local housing need. The primary objective is to meet the accommodation need of the person within the locality, target those living in the low and middle income group. There are 3 income group: HIG, high income group, middle income group, and lower income group. So they are trying to provide the shelter to the middle income group and the lower income group. Further, apart from that, to the senior citizen as well. Accommodation is basically furnished. It consists of the small houses with the kitchen, bathroom, bedrooms, and the sitting room. The HS manages 450 such houses, various locality. Exclusive Services is a profit-seeking organization, provide rented accommodation to the public. ES manages 200 such houses across the locality similar to the HS operation. So what this simply mentioned that there are 2 organizations, one organization in HS, other organization in ES. HS is a not-for-profit sector organization, whereas the ES is for-profit organization. The ES has a 200 houses, whereas the HS has a 400 houses to manage. Why they give ES to you? So that you can benchmark. Even though not-for-profit organization can benchmark against for-profit organization in terms of economy, because both want to spend less, but the purpose of profit organization to spend less is to make huge margin. But purpose for not-for-profit organization to spend less is what? So that they can cater the need of larger section, larger part of the society. Okay. Now this data is given to you. Read along with me. Income and expenditure accounts for the year ended 31st March 2020 were as follows. So the rent received given to you for both. The detail of rent received, friend, given here. The detail is here. There are 4 category of houses with 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom. And there are 40 houses with the HS where there is only 1 bedroom. And the rent per week is 400. So 40 into 400. The per week rent from single or 1 bedroom sector or 1 bedroom house is 16,000, but this is per week. Okay, for HS. 80 houses are those which are 2 bedroom set where the rent is 450. So 80 multiplied by 450 is nothing but the 36,000. 250 are those houses where the rent is 500 per week. So per week collection from the 3 BHK to HS is 1,25,000. and 80 houses are those where the per week rent is 700. Hence, the per week collection from the 4 BHK is 56,000 to the HS. So if you compute this, the weekly collection to HS is 2,33,000. And in a year, there are 52 weeks. So total annual collection, which should HS earn, is 1 crore 21 lakh 16,000 rupees. So friend, in this question, HS is a not-for-profit organization, but वो बिल्कुल फ्री में घर नहीं दे देती, थोड़े पैसे कम लेती है. HS charges less rent in comparison to ES. ES charge 750 for 1 BHK, but HS charge 400. So in this manner, they are not for profit. They are serving the society. They are charging less rents. No doubt, they also need to meet the expenditure. For meeting the expenditure, they are charging only that much amount that they can meet the expenditure. They are not for the profit. They are not earning margins. Okay. So this is the annual rent which HS should earn. But how much of the rent HS actually earns? 1 crore 2,98,600. Why HS earn 1 lakh 2 crore 98,600 instead of this? The reason written here. Read along with me. HS had certain houses that were unoccupied during the part of year. The rent lost as the consequences of unoccupied property amounted to rupees 18,17,400. It means सभी घर नहीं भरे, some of the houses remain vacant, and those houses which remain vacant, due to that there is a loss of the rent, and the loss of rent is how much? 18,17,400 out of 1 crore 21 lakh 16,000. Okay, so it means how much of the money they actually earn in form of rent? 1 crore 2 lakh 98,600. If you compute rent lost as a percentage of total possible rent, you will see it will come 15%. It means the unoccupancy ratio in case of HS is how much? It is 15%. Occupancy ratio is how much? It means 85%. But whereas in the case of ES, did not have any unoccupied house. It means ES को जितना rent आना चाहिए था, he earns the same amount of rent. Okay. So here you can see there is one weakness in the efficiency of HS in comparison to ES. The occupancy of ES is 100%, whereas the occupancy of HS is 85%. Moving further, employee cost 24 lakh and 38 lakh. The detail is given here. You can see the number of staff HS having 15, the number of staff ES having also 15. But in case of HS, 8 staff out of 15, majority, working at the rate of 1 lakh, due to which the cost incurred by HS 3 lakh, 5 lakh, 2 into 2.5, then 8 lakh, which is 4 into 2 lakh, then 8 into 1 lakh, 8 lakh. The total cost on the employee incurred by HS is 24 lakh. Whereas the amount incurred by ES is how much? The 10 lakh on these two people, then on these two people, 6 lakh rupee, and on these 11 people into 2 lakh, 22 lakh rupee. It means ES is incurring 38 lakh. Okay. So this data is given to you, 24 and 38. Further, planned maintenance and substantial repair, which is 34 lakh 19,500 and 10 lakh 41,000. The detail, friends, given here. The number of houses which underwent the major repair is also given in case of both HS and ES. Apart from that, amount is also given. If you total this like 12,500 into 10, how much amount incurred on the building work? 1.25 lakh. 26,100 into 45. How much amount incurred on the sanitary fitting? 11,740 lakhs. Similar way, how much amount incurred on the AC upgradation? 1.2 lakh. How I computed 1.2? This is 15,000 into 8. Then the replacement of the wooden structure. 50 houses are the number in whose case the almirah or the wooden things has been changed, and it cost us 40,000 for each of the house. It means the 20 lakh is incurred. If you total this thing, it will come 34 lakh 19,500. Similar way, if you compute for the ES, then the sanitary fitting cost you 52,200 in case of the 5 houses. Hence, it will be 2.61 lakh. In case of 13 houses, you need to replace the cupboard or the wooden structure, which costs you 60,000 each house. You can see here, although economy of HS is good. Why? Because HS spent only 40,000 to change the furniture of one house, whereas ES spent 60,000 to change the furniture of one house. So economy is high in HS, but the efficiency high is in ES. We saw the various you can say that parameter which suggests us this particular data. So if you multiply 60,000 with the 13, so it will become 7.8 lakh. So how much of the amount spent by ES on the major repair? 10 lakh 41 lakh. Okay. So this data is given to you here. 34 lakh and then 10 lakh 41,000. Then the last, running repair. 23 lakh 91,600 and 6 lakh 38,000. The detail of that is given here. You can simply see that number of houses in whose case running repair done by HS. There are 2,030 instances, not number of houses, instances of repair by HS. Whereas in case of ES, there are only 638 cases or instances of repair. In the case of HS, the total cost of repair are 23,91,600 if you add up all these three. Basically, for which thing this data is useful? This data tell you that how many number of repair are emergency. This will basically help you to know your flexibility. If you are meeting these emergency need in a quick manner, obviously then you are efficient, otherwise you are not. Okay. So this much data is given to you in the question. Apart from some other factor given like miscellaneous operating cost, then insurance cost, etc. And you can see the HS, which is not for profit organization, is incurring the Aman, actually, this is the last lecture for the chapter number 8. I'm not having another lecture with you. So please, Rajay, give me another 5 minutes. Okay. I'll explain the requirement of the question and provide you the answer. You can click the pick of the answer, which is explained for you. Okay. Give me another 5 minutes. So this is the deficit, which is borne by the ES. But whereas this is the surplus, which is earned by the ES. So what now you need to do, because we understand the question and the different data given in the question. Read the first requirement. Critically evaluate how the management of the homelessness service could be measured for the value for money of its service provision during the year 31st March 2020. Value for money, obviously you need to measure three things: economy, efficiency, and then effectiveness. Okay. Then further, identify the two performance measures in relation to flexibility and service quality dimension of the performance measurement. Friends, when you study the word dimension, what thing come to your mind? Building block model. Because in the building block model, The one block is the dimension. And in those, there are two further elements, result and determinants. And flexibility and service quality is nothing but the determinants. You need to tell the two performance measures. What could be the two performance measures? See along with me quickly. Okay. The two performance measures for flexibility and service quality can be waiting time. Waiting time of two things. When the tenant asks you to do the emergency repair, if you able to do, then you are flexible. But if you are not able to respond back to the tenant, then you are not flexible. Second, it may possible that the tenant who right now in the 3 BHK feel that due to the family requirement, they need to shift to the 4 BHK. So they apply to you to shift. How agile you are in order to allocate the new BHK to them. Or when someone new come to you, new tenant, they ask you whether I'll get the 2 BHK, how quickly you respond to them. So these are the feature of the or parameter of the flexibility. Now the parameter of the or measure of the service quality. What can be there? The quality and reliability of the basic amenities. Basic amenities means what? The safety, the water, the electricity, the sewage, etc. These are the indicator of the quality. Further, the behavior of staff, how the staff behave with the tenant and the customer. The term and condition of tenancy. Is there any term that after the 11 months you need to vacate the building and then you can't have a continuous lease? Otherwise you become the owner and so on. Other fact may be there. So these can also be considered as the parameter of the quality. Friend, now the question arises from where you'll get the data. Obviously, the data to measure these two is quite difficult. For the waiting time, you can prepare the log. But for assessing the quality, you need to get the feedback from the customer. I hope the part number 2 of the question is quite clear to everyone. Now quickly move to the part 3. Analyze the 3 performance measures relating to the cost and efficiency. Cost means economy, efficiency, it is quite clear, it's written in a direct form, could be utilized by the management of the HS when it comparing the operating performance against the exclusive service. As I already mentioned, that economy and efficiency in case of not-for-profit organization can be measured against the for-profit organization. Although the objective of both are different, but the sense of economy to both are same. So what are the 3 measures possible? Although I will not compute due to the shortage of time, but I will mention to you. The first measure is average employee cost per week per house. So employee cost here was something 24 lakh. And here it was 38 lakh. And there was 52 weeks in a year and 450 houses. So you can compute what comes per unit per week. Here it is 52 into 200 houses you maintain here under the ES. So you can compute per unit here as well. Although if I mention, then it is 102.56 per unit. Here it is 365.38 per unit. So simply if you see, then you find that HS is more economic than the ES. Similar way, the average day to day repair cost can be computed. The manner we compute the labor cost. Then the occupancy rate can be computed. Occupancy rate in ES is 100%, but in the case of HS, it was 85%. So what you will say that ES is efficient despite the fact that HS is economic, but EH is more efficient. Now, come back to the first thing. First thing, what you need to do, you basically need to measure economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. How you will measure that? Obviously, the purchases which you made and the labor which you employ in order to do the maintenance and the repair at HS, that need to be procured at the lowest possible price. Okay. Further, efficiency. You need to check your productivity. How the productivity will be checked? Like how many labor hours spent by your worker to maintain the buildings, and how many labor hours spent to maintain each house by the ES. This will give you the input output comparison. Last but not the least, the effectiveness. Are the tenants satisfied? If the tenant satisfied, because this is only the objective, and the old age people, then objective is achieved. Otherwise, objective is not achieved. So, friends, thank you for being with me. I know that it's an harsh. I was a bit harsh on you, like keep on extending the lecture, but it was the last lecture with me of yours for this chapter number 8, and will not get the opportunity again to meet. So that's why I just want to finish the concept. So we finish the concept. I just simply request you that you must practice all the question, and if you have a doubt, you may have some idea of student inquiry or something regarding this VCC or LMS. You can send your query related to chapter number 4, 5, and 8 to that ID, and I request the team as well, backend team, that they must send that query to me, so that none of your query remain unresolved. Okay, don't hesitate to send the query on that particular email ID which may be there. Otherwise, I'll ask the person who is responsible for paper number 5 in the institute that if possible to give you some mechanism so that while solving the question, while doing the revision in the chapter number 4, 5, and 8, you find any difficulty, because chapter number 8 we did entire in the revised mechanism. Although I know about the chapter number 4 and 5, but then I was under the confidentiality clause. I could not let you people know that new syllabus or the new material will be published. I can't, you can say that, detail everything with you. So if you find that anything which is in the revised material not discussed with you, you are free to ask me. Okay, no issue. Thank you, Chavi. Thank you, Anjali. Thank you, Raman. Bye, everyone. And wish you all the best for your examination, as well as God bless for your best health and bright future. Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.